Good morning, and welcome to episode 4 of the Demons Clubcast with your hosts, UncleChowdr, K13, and Mad Dog. And joining us today, a new addition to the group, Meanjoegreen. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Joe?
Yo, I'm Joe. I play a little bit of everything, not so much recently, but mostly RPGs. I did play Fortnite last night, and it was a great time. Um, yeah, but I try to get my hands on just about everything, pretty open-minded towards most games. Um, Baldur's Gate 3 is my main game. But yeah, Fortnite as of late, which isn't usual for me, but I'm loving it, honestly. It's great.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'm actually playing some of our OG Fortnite gameplay last night. Just to get into what we've all been playing, I played Fortnite with Joe quite for a couple hours last night, playing on the OG map.
Nice.
It was pretty nice to play on the OG map. Honestly, it was pretty cool to see all the
It was
old
so
school,
nostalgic, man.
yeah, all the old school places to drop, like the OG Tilted and Greasy Grove and Lucky
Ooh,
Landing, all the cool spots, like all the cool spots. So we definitely had a good time with that. We played no builds last night, and honestly, I'm impressed with how well the no builds has tr-
I
transferred over into the OG map. I was worried about how it was going to play with no builds on the OG map just because of how I remember it being with like so little cover everywhere, but it actually played okay. It felt okay.
It
nice.
was sweatier, but it was fun.
Yeah,
Dude,
it
that's how no builds has been though lately.
yeah,
I
no
don't know. That's all I play.
yeah, no builds is
I
pretty
can't
sweaty. I can agree with that.
let me tell you this, just from watching and listening to top Fortniters, most of them, unless they relocate for zero ping, are not playing builds anymore.
Oh yeah, I watch a ton of Ninja lately, and
Yeah.
like Tim the Tatman and Courage and Lupo and all those guys that I'd never see them playing builds.
Yeah, no. Well, you pretty much, if you want to play it on a competitive level like they're wanting to, you'd have to move to get zero ping at the servers. You almost have to be able to do it competitively.
I mean, to a certain extent, it does take a lot of skill, but I mean,
Yeah.
I have seen pros in like a 20 or 30 ping that I mean, not to say that you don't have a competitive edge with a lower ping, but certainly takes skill.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Not saying anything. That's why I don't play builds because I don't have the skill.
See, and I personally prefer to play builds. And I know that, as a Warzone player that might sound strange, but I've always liked the building in Fortnite. Like I changed over to Builder Pro and like I'm not the best at it by any means, but I can definitely put up a 4x4 with a ramp inside of it pretty quick to give myself cover. And with all of the stuff that they've added to the game with like the explosives, right now in OG Fortnite it's a little different because you don't have the fire stuff like you used to, and the other seasons that we've had, playing builds never felt that bad to me against people who could build just because there was always some kind of fire. So as soon as someone built a mansion, I would just light the thing on fire and they would have to either keep building up over or get out of it. And if you just keep pushing on someone who's building with fire or explosives, they have a really hard time, especially if they're just trying to build. And I've noticed that with
Right.
some stuff. Like I like both modes just because I appreciate the gunplay in Fortnite so much. The gunplay
Fuck
in
you.
yeah, it's really great. The
Hands
third
down.
person shooting in Fortnite is so good. So the no builds is fun, but I do appreciate the builds just because I do like that aspect of Fortnite. I've always really enjoyed the, throwing up some walls for some defense real quick.
Yeah, I kind of flip-flop between the two. Like I burn out on builds and then I go no builds and then, I'm not sure that I have like a preference. I do enjoy them both and they both definitely have their place, but I do feel like buildings, when you are in building, the skill gap is not as bad as what it used to be. It seems like when Fortnite first started out, there was some fucking like all the pros were playing build mode, because there
Yeah.
was no build. So the skill gap is just, it's a lot easier now, and I find myself not struggling so much with building because the skill gap isn't so extreme anymore.
No, and I totally agree with you on that 100%. I don't see as many people who are expert builders like you used to in Fortnite before no builds. Like there isn't as many people who are building huge towers and are really good at edit shooting, you know, with a shotgun, really good at smacking a wall up and then taking half of it away and popping you and putting the other half of it back up before you can even think to, you know, aim at the guy. So that's when fighting a builder gets stressful, is when it's someone who's that good at like editing while they're building. Like that's when I get scared. I'm like, crap, this dude can edit. Like I'm not so much worried about builders as I am editors, dude. If I'm gonna say that correctly, people who can edit in Fortnite are the scariest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because
Those are the people why I stopped playing Fortnite.
yeah, well, exactly. Like those are the people that make you just feel like a child when you go up against them, because you like go run up to shoot them, and all of a sudden you're inside of a fucking maze, and they have complete control of it. Like it's so
Yeah.
ridiculous, dude. Yeah, no. And then the other games I've been playing is just Warzone with the boys. I finally hit that 1,000 souls and got that ghoulie camo for the Halloween event, which I was stoked about because it's the coolest. It's the event camo that I've liked the best so far out of all the ones that I've seen. So I just went for it, and then playing Warzone on Saturday for a few hours with Kyle and Lowe's and Kyle's brother. I ended up getting enough souls to grind out the rest of the event. Today I plan
Thanks.
on playing some Forza while I'm letting everything upload, just because I've been kind of itching to play Forza, but I do want to stream the rest of the Cyberpunk DLC really soon, because I thought I was getting near the end, and there was like kind of a big turning point where I found the person I was looking for. I'm not trying to put spoilers out there, but I found the person I was looking for, and I thought that was going to be near the end, but it kind of seemed like a turning point where shit's about to get more intense, so I feel like I have more stuff to discover. Mad Dog, what have you been playing?
Dude, other than Warzone with the boys, of course. No, I can't say that. Warzone with my squad,
Yeah.
because my schedule keeps me opposite you guys.
Yeah, you're up
It
a lot longer.
sucks. But yeah. Well, it's just, with me having the kids, I want them to be at least settled for bed before I disappear for a couple hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's understandable.
So, but Warzone with the squad, and then really, other than that, it's still just the forest. Like I keep start building something, and I'm like, oh, I don't really want to do that. Fuck it, and I'll kill myself. And I just start all over. Like I've just kind of turned it into that kind of a monotony game until I get like the full mechanics of the survival aspect to then take on the story.
The last survival game I got really hardcore into was what the that game that just it's on Xbox, it's on Game Pass. Why can I not remember the name of it? The one where you're tiny and you're shrunken in the backyard with all the giant bugs. I cannot remember that game.
Exactly.
I know what you're.
Yeah, you know what game I'm talking about. I don't know why I can't remember.
I've seen it.
That's the last one I played.
Unraveled?
No, it's not Unraveled. I cannot for the life of me remember.
I can't remember either.
But
It's
it was made by I think it was made by, I want to say God, I don't even remember that much, but I played that for a little bit. Survival games I have a hard time with sometimes, especially if I'm playing it by myself. Like I need some kind of objective to fight towards, and that's the reason why I got into that game I was just talking about. I'm trying to look up the name of it right now, so I quit doing that. But
The Ant Boy?
no, I'm trying to remember I cannot believe I forgot the name of that game.
The last survival type game I think I played was Cult of the Lamb, but it's kind of like a roguelite / survival type game too. It's a lot of fun.
That game looks pretty interesting to me.
So good.
Once I get like my PC like going and stuff, I'll definitely check that one out.
Yeah. Well, that's Chowder, kind of the same thing with the survival games. Like I'm constantly rotating them on my phone. It's like, because I want to build, and then once you build a little bit, and there's so much into it, and it's like, this is all it is. I'm just gonna run over this patch of trees, harvest, come back, build. Run over this patch of trees, harvest, come back, build. Like there's no actual story to them.
Yeah, I'm so mad. I'm so mad I forgot it. It's grounded. I had a wonderful time with Grounded because it's like Honey I Shrunk the Kids, but it's a
Yeah.
survival game. So you're in the backyard and you like fight insects and huge spiders and ants, and then you can make like you can kill a ladybug and make armor out of the ladybug pieces. It's awesome. And that game has objectives. There's like a story. There's like you find these weird little science outposts that are like built by someone else that are like there's one in the bush and like in the huge hedge bush that you have to like work your way to. And it's sweet because you can like find places and build yourself like a fort. Like me and Ty were playing it for together for a while, and I built like a fort on an island where the spiders can't get to me and stuff. So that way the big spiders can't come and attack me when I'm doing stuff and building. And it's got tons of water and grass stalks on it that I can harvest for building materials. And it's close to the hedge. Like it's it's honestly a huge map, but it's just a backyard. And they did such a good job at the background making you feel tiny and shrunk in that game. Like it's a great one.
Let's become best friends. Yeah. Let's check it out. Check it out.
Yeah, I'll have to check that one out too. I never got around to it, but it's on Game Pass, correct?
It is on Game Pass, and I do believe it's on PC as well. I do believe you can play it on PC as well, Joe.
Yeah, I think like 99% of Game Pass is on PC now, so it should be good.
Yeah, so
I was gonna say, I don't know why not at this point.
Yeah, if you like survival games, I highly recommend trying that one out because it's fun. Especially if you like, I grew up watching Honey I Shrunk the Kids, so it was really cool to see that and have that experience and like play that and run around all tiny and stuff and see huge bugs. Kyle, what have you been playing? I think I know the answer.
Yeah, I have not played Alan Wake.
Oh man, I wanted a weekly update. God damn it.
I know. I'll be on it for sure this coming week because it's been fun, and I just Warzone. Now that I'm back on it,
I do love to hear that.
So.
I do love to hear that. Now I just need to sink in and get on with you guys.
Yeah,
I'm 16 souls away from 1,000, so I'll make sure to beat DeathcoreDad. So, LOL.
When you beat him for the 1,000 souls, I can't wait for that. It's gonna be so.
Actually, I think I'm less than that because I played a solo game after Brandon got off, and then I got a few more.
I'm like 900 away. I stopped even trying.
Well, we did like an 8-hour session yesterday, so.
Yeah, I know. See, I worked all day yesterday, and I took the wife out to dinner and everything. So yesterday was an off night for me.
Oh shit!
And that was kind of my last real go to because I get fucking shit to do all day today too.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah, but that's been it. Yesterday felt good though. Got some nice kill streaks.
But yeah,
popped off. I think my max is 14. So since I've been back, that's my peak right now. Trying to hit that 20 again.
Ooh, there you go. There you go. I will say, Kyle, it is great to see you back on Warzone.
Thanks.
You have no idea. And if yesterday hadn't have been Saturday, I'd have just lurked you all day. But man,
That's all good.
that shit.
I'm always trying to lurk out somebody.
Right. I always try. Like even when I went to dinner last night, kept the PC on and kept fucking. I think Bird's Eye was on at the time.
Yeah, I saw him get on.
But anything else? Any other new news? I have to say that I made the mistake of hitting start streaming instead of start recording. So, we're just going with.
We're going live, baby.
We're live, baby.
Live.
Yeah, I didn't realize I did that because it's early and I'm still waking up over here. So I'm changing the title right now.
I think it's good. I think it's a good format.
Yeah, honestly, this is fine. I didn't.
I think it's meant to be.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
meant to be. I think I've just been avoiding it kind of because the pressure of being live is a little strange, but now I can see comments and we can interact. So if you guys want to, if you have the option to pull up my chat, you guys can see comments that we get live. So I'm just changing up the title right now.
It's
Do you
amazing.
record your VODs or
I'm
no?
just gonna download the VOD from Twitch because I can
Mhm.
download it from Twitch and it'll be the
Yeah.
exact same quality and everything will sound the same. It'll just be an extra step, unfortunately, with me having to download it, but I can still upload it afterwards. It'll be MP4, and if I have to, I can always change it inside of. I figured out how to remux recordings for free inside OBS, so I can always do that.
Nice.
Sick.
That's so funny.
Okay, so yeah, we're live. I got
Let's go.
I got the I got
I'm
the
having
comments pulled up
I'll
here
pull up
now.
the stream. Fuck it. Yeah, I'll pull up the
I
stream.
got the comments pulled up. I did
Mhm.
not mean to do that, but hey, first episode that we're live recording. How about that? Another step for us. I'm going to ban this.
Yeah, you're gonna
one.
have to mute your end though, because I can hear it through. Oh wait, that's why. Never mind. Figured it
You're
out.
gonna have to mute your end over there, buddy.
Yep,
pal.
I did. I realized it.
Stubbs out. Hey, Dally boy, what's up, brother? Thanks for hopping in. This is our episode 4 of the podcast. This is our first live recording, so welcome in.
By accident.
Yeah,
By
by
accident.
accident, completely by accident, because I'm stoned and it's the morning time. So,
What can you do?
yeah. So, but let's get into some Modern Warfare 3 stuff. Now, I know that Joe, you are thinking about maybe coming back. I know the campaign kind of soured you a bit, and I understand. I see the reviews, and I kind of feel, as I'm getting closer to the end, I feel like they definitely could have done more. I wish it was more on the rails than they had these open missions where the idea of it was cool, but they just don't give you enough to do on these huge maps. Like, you get a huge map, like there's one mission where you literally, it's a huge map and it's a part of Verdansk. I'm at the dam in Verdansk running around, and you're a ghost and you have to just defuse some bombs and then you get extracted, and that's that. And I mean, there's a ton of enemies and you can play it sneakily and you can make it take longer and be more complicated if you want to be sneaky, or you can literally just bomb through and go do it without having to worry if you're good enough at shooting and if you play Call of Duty all the time. So the campaign is definitely, hit or miss. The zombies is sounding, or looking and sounding pretty promising. I'm interested just because it's kind of a new format, so I'm definitely interested to see what they're gonna do with it, and I want to play it. There looks like there's tons of new stuff. Matter of fact, there's a tactical grenade that we'll get into a little bit later that's specifically for zombies in this game. Yeah, so
Yeah,
there's
and I'm hugely into zombies.
yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, but yeah, zombies was definitely my thing. It was my main thing for sure. And I would certainly, never in my right mind, judge a COD game by the campaign. Like I know better. I know
Mhm.
haven't put as much effort into that, in past years anyway. And I believe it was missing from a lot of games previously anyway. So but it's just kind of sucky to see, and I know I can be Mr. Negative Nancy about COD all the time, but from an outsider's looking in, from I'm an ex-COD lover, and I'm rooting for COD all the way. Like I want to see changes, and it's just I'm kind of living in the past, I guess.
No, I understand because it would be like I feel torn about it sometimes because I'm one of the few people that I know that I enjoy what Modern Warfare 2 had to offer, and I will still sit down and play multiplayer by myself just because I do enjoy that aspect
Yeah.
of it. And I think it goes back for me of just I've always been that person. Like the first time I played Call of Duty online was on an Xbox 360 and it was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4, and I'll just never forget that. Like I stayed up all night till like 7 o'clock in the morning the first time I got to touch that because I was like, this is incredible. So just something about every time I play multiplayer, I have a little bit of that inside of me still, and I just get enamored with it, and I can sit and play it all night long. Like I don't know what it is. It keeps me up. It'll keep me awake. But the changes coming to Modern Warfare 3. I have quite a few notes in the Discord that I posted. I'm gonna jump around a little bit in the notes because I'm gonna skip over the problems at Sony part. I'm sure that you guys seen that. We'll talk about that after this. But I'm gonna just go right into the Modern Warfare 3 changes that Sledgehammer's making. Um, the first and foremost, as we're used to from the other COD games, mostly from Warzone, the Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 weapons will have different markers to distinguish guns from each other. So like like it used to be in Warzone 1, where it'll have kind of a different color and it'll have like, you know, the name of the game that it's from probably up in the top corner, just kind of showing what game it's from, just to distinguish those two. They are removing weapon tuning from the game, and that means all the pro tuning from the blueprints will also be gone. That was due to huge community feedback. Sledgehammer listened to the community feedback and they got rid of the weapon tuning.
God.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing. I think the attachments should be all that affect the weapon. At first the weapon tuning was kind of cool. I will say, like, at first I was kind of like, this is kind of cool. I can kind of see how this is, it's neat to be able to tune the weapons a little bit more finely, but at the same time, to me, it just got cumbersome because, when you're in a pregame lobby and you're waiting to load in, you're with the squad and you're trying to change something real quick, then you got to change the weapon, then you got to tune the weapon, and you got to put there's so much to do now with the weapon tuning, and it takes forever on a controller. Like, the only reason I can go through it fast is because I have a mouse hooked up to my Xbox, so it's easy for me to grab, click, and drag the sliders. But if you're on a controller, I mean, they made those sliders move so freaking slow, dude.
Yeah,
they sure did.
It was rough. I mean, I had my bitches about the tuning, but I, for one, actually liked them. Now I do know exactly what you're talking about, Chowdr, because it happens all the fucking time.
Yep.
But I mean, I would just get everything set up before I ever join in, or I mean, whichever, whatever. But the thing I'm excited to hear out of that whole story you just told me is that they are listening to the community.
Yeah, we'll see how long that 100%
has been my biggest. That has 100% been my biggest bitch the entire time, is that you have the community who is the ones putting the fucking money and putting the time into your game, and you're completely ignoring what the fuck we're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're actually going to listen to the community, then let's see what happens.
Yep.
Because, I mean, I don't know. That's my biggest thing. It's just listening to those of us that are your loyal fan base. How many of us have played damn near every fucking Call of Duty out there?
Exactly. I mean,
I stopped during the Infinite Warfare, Advanced Warfare. Like, that shit just got a little too. If I wanted spacey shit, I'll go play Destiny.
Exactly.
But
it got weird, man.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I got to like Black Ops 3 and I'm like, okay.
That's the game that I stopped playing. I mean, and not to say Black Ops 3 is a bad game. I was mostly into zombies anyway. I did play multiplayer and stuff, but I don't know. Maybe that was just the straw that broke the camel's back for me. Was just it was.
I was in the same boat with the zombies, right? Like, Black Ops 2 zombies for me, it is my pinnacle. And then the way they did Black Ops 3, I mean, you could see they were just trying to revamp it, and I appreciated their effort, but I didn't like the I don't know, the sheer aspect size of the I can't remember exactly what I didn't like, but that was kind of the one I stopped on right there.
That's unfortunate. That personally, Black Ops 3 was one of my favorites, and that was one where basically AOW kind of formulated officially, and we just tore shit up on multiplayer basically every game. Dude, our win percentage was fucking nuts.
That's awesome. That's fucking awesome. And to each their own. Like I said, from about Black Ops 3, I remember getting Black Ops 4 because what was it? The guy, Christopher Maloney, the guy who played like your main antagonist throughout that entire game. I bought it because I wanted to see what he was going to be like in game, and then with the features of being able to customize like the old SOCOM games before you load in, I couldn't even finish the story though. Like, it just got too out there. Like I said, if I'm playing Call of Duty, I'm playing more for a realistic fiction type deal rather than.
Yeah, those are you talking like for the story?
Like I said, if I want spacey stuff, at that time I was going to go play Destiny, and that's what I did play for the most part was Destiny.
I definitely
everyone
don't know
was
how,
like boots on the ground, man.
Boots on the ground.
I definitely don't know how like jetpacks would translate to like Warzone, because that'd be weird. But I don't know. I loved it for like what they did with the maps and stuff, and how they were designed for like wall riding and stuff, and then like the abilities that each character had. I just thought it was interesting, and I don't know.
It was definitely that game definitely had a large skill gap with the wall running and the jumping around in Call of Duty. That game had a large skill gap in the multiplayer. It got pretty wild.
Yeah.
I didn't like Advanced Warfare or like the other one after that, or however it went.
Infinite,
But the
whichever.
only one with the jetpacks I liked was Black Ops 3. I felt like they did it the best.
See, I played I want to say it was Black Ops 4 I played a little bit of. But during those times I kind of quit playing Call of Duty. I was much more into Battlefield at that time. That's what I was playing
Rightfully
the
so.
most
Wasn't
of.
that Battlefield 4?
Yeah,
I
that was
do remember you going
Battlefield
through
3
that Battlefield. phase.
Battlefield 3
Oh,
and
3
Battlefield
and then
4
4.
days.
Yeah, I remember you going through that phase.
Yeah, those were the games. And then but not to cut it short, but to get back to I have a lot of notes here, so I'm gonna try to bust through a few more of these. The instead of the tuning, each attachment's gonna have green and red chevrons to the perks and cons to show like at a glance how much it'll affect the weapon, and that'll be from
Okay.
one to three little arrows. So
Nice.
one green arrow means like a minimal effect, two medium range, three super effective on the weapon. So just quick at a glance, seeing what the attachments do to make that faster, which is I think a great thing. And then there's going to be another arrow on the attachments to kind of show new functions for the attachments. Muzzles, undetectable by radar, pro, flash concealment, bullet penetration for ammunition, explosive impact, underbarrel, mostly just bipod mounts. For like a feature that it will do that gives you an extra thing to do for those that can bipod mount. Lasers, it looks like they have the canted laser aiming in the game still, the canted laser, which I don't understand why I guess I can kind of understand why they would do it, just to add that sense of accuracy to the tactical stance, because I have noticed while playing the story, um if you go in a tactical stance with a gun that doesn't have a laser, you go more to the side, that side view that you guys probably seen in the multiplayer in the beta. And then if you have a laser, it's not quite as to the side. It's more at like a 45-degree angle, I would say. And you can see where the laser points to give you that sense of accuracy with it. And then different magnifications for optics, and then thermals, and then as a con, which ones have sniper glint, the obvious stuff that we know about. Another big new feature is they're adding a detailed stat page. So they're getting rid of weapon tuning, but they're adding a detailed stat page so you can look to see specific numbers for damage, range, recoil control, mobility, fire rate, accuracy, and handling. So if you really want to get down and dirty with the numbers and see what you're doing with your attachments, you can, if you want to sit there and look at those. And they're also adding the ability to filter attachments and aftermarket parts for specific attributes, so it only shows the attachments that help with those attributes. I'm excited for that. Because there are some times that I'm looking to put attachments on a gun where I just want ADS or recoil control or what have you, and if I can just put on a filter for recoil control and it shows me just the attachments that help with recoil control, that makes things simple as hell, instead of looking through what I'm assuming to be a huge list of attachments in this game, because we have another 40 weapons coming. They're going to have their own attachments plus the attachments that we have from Modern Warfare 2.
No, it's about to be a fucking shit ton to go through.
Yeah.
But side note here, Chowder, I tell you gotta take a dab.
Oh no, did someone redeem one?
Yes, he did.
Oh, digital. Appreciate the love, brother. I can do that.
This is gonna be the fun part about live.
Oh, dude, I didn't even think about that. We should just make it
next time you'll just have to disable like that stuff or whatever.
or we just make it
alter it.
or we just make it a
Yeah,
rule.
if it interferes, don't worry about it. Yeah,
Or we
whatever
just-
you want to do,
Yeah.
man.
Or we just make it a
Yeah,
rule that
you got a
every
bunch of
time
notes to go through. So
every time there's one, we'll just we'll all hit a dab.
yeah, I was gonna say someone has to.
Someone does.
And
Someone
then
fucking.
We'll rotate.
we'll go through the confirmed weapon list real quick. For melee, we have just the gutter knife and the karambit. Both of them are knives. The karambit looks like a raptor claw knife, essentially, like one of those curved blades that's got like
Hell
the
yeah.
hole in it for spinning the finger. I thought that was cool. Launcher. they're only adding one launcher to Modern Warfare 3 because they are bringing all the weapons from Modern Warfare 2 over. So we have the Javelin, the Stinger, the RPG, and the other launcher. I forget what that one's called. But they're adding the RGL-80 grenade launcher as a equipable launcher in the game. I'm not sure how I feel about that yet. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
That grenade launcher can be quite annoying, and so I'm afraid that multiplayer for a while is gonna be a lot of grenades.
Duh.
Pistols.
Of course.
Pistols, we have the Core 45, which is, semi-automatic pistol, 45 round, 45 caliber. The Renetti, which a lot of people know, it's the burst. The the TYR is a revolver. I'm not sure on the caliber on that. I didn't get all of the information on all of these weapons. I looked for a while, but I couldn't find everything. And the WSP Stinger. Now, I have the WSP Stinger listed under pistols and submachine guns, so I'm not 100% sure the accuracy on that one. I'm not sure where it's going to end up, but it does seem like more of a pistol than it does a submachine gun. And then sniper rifles, they're only adding 3. The cat arm and the 2 that we got in the beta, the longbow and the KV inhibitor, which a little disappointed, but at the same time I understand because once again they're adding all of our weapons from Modern Warfare 2 over, so we are starting with quite a few sniper rifles. Marksman rifles, we have the KVO Enforcer, the MCW 6.8, the DM56, and the MTZ Interceptor. Light machine guns.
What's the MCW?
The MCW is the it's the marksman rifle version of the MCW assault rifle, essentially the ACR. So it's just like a bigger caliber ACR that's single fire. Yeah, I'm excited to try that out.
So
Oh yeah.
Looks like it's going from, I mean, what was the ACR? Was it was it 7.62 or
no, it's 5.56.
Yeah.
So so with the MCW, it looks like, if I'm reading that correctly, it's saying 6.8, which means 6.8 Creedmoor, which is a sniper round designed to be fired from an assault or from a AR platform.
Oh, cool. So that'll be cool to try that gun out. I'm definitely excited to see some of these new marksman rifles and try them out.
Yeah, that one's got me curious.
Yeah. For light machine guns, I'm gonna fuck this up because I cannot speak.
I can't even read it. So
the Pulmoit.
Pulmoit, yeah, 7.62. The DG58 LSW, the Holger 26, the Bruin MK9, and the TAC Eradicator, which is a light machine gun version of the TAC 56. I do have a confirmation on that, but I also heard that it is going to be locked behind a specific challenge. It won't be available to unlock through level unlock, so there will be a challenge for that.
Let's go.
Shotguns, we have the Lockwood 680, the Haymaker, and the Riveter. Submachine guns, we have the Striker, which is the new version of the UMP45. The WSP Swarm, so I guess that actually is a different, so there is the WSP, I forgot that they had different names, the different call signs. So there's like a mini Uzi, which is a pistol, then there's the WSP Swarm, which is the mini Uzi, and then you have the AMR 9, the WSP 9, which is like your normal size Uzi, if you will, and then the Rival 9, which to me is the new version of the Scorpion Evo, which everyone knows and loves, the super fast fire rate, and the Striker 9, which is just another variant of the Striker. It's a 9mm version of the Striker. I'm excited to try that out because I do like those 9mm guns. I do like those for up close.
Yeah.
Battle rifles. The Bass P, which was one that we got inside of the beta, and it was there was some controversy around it. I did see a lot of people using it, but also they had some issues with hit registration, specifically with that gun. It had to get a specific update for the Bass P, so we'll see how it handles when the multiplayer drops. And then we had the Sidewinder and the MTZ 7.62. For battle rifles, and then for assault rifles we have the SVA 5.45, which looks a lot like the AN94, the MTZ 5.56, the Holger 5.56, which is their version of the G36. I'm so excited about that. That's one of my favorite assault rifles of all time to play with in any game.
Yes.
The good old MCW, the ACR. The MCW was a huge problem in the beta. Like that gun was the meta in the beta. Everybody
Yeah,
was running that
it
gun.
was.
So we'll see
It
what
fucking was.
happens. We'll see what happens with the multiplayer. The DG58 and the FR 5.56. So there is a decent amount of weapons coming with Modern Warfare 3. I'm pretty excited about all those. Um, then let's see. Let's get
Bringing the FAMAS back. I love it.
making sure. Yeah, the FAMA. Yeah, I mean they have the version that they just added for us in Modern Warfare 2, and
Oh, did they? I didn't
yeah,
realize.
yeah, that it is it's like it reminds me more of the Black Ops version of the FAMAS, if you will. Like it's got those weird little like the bipod things that kind of shake on the sides on both sides of the gun, like and it's got the same iron sight. The only thing is it kicks so I just feel like it doesn't handle as good as the other ones. Even with the attachments on it, I just don't feel like it handles as good. But that's just that's
Yeah.
me.
For a few games where I like the FAMAS, but when it's good, it's pretty lethal.
Yep. And then we'll just jump into the perks. Now the perk system has been changed up a little bit. Something that I thought was kind of cool the way they did it, but there is something that's disappointing, which I'll get into here in a sec. They separated the perks into like equipment, right? So they're calling it like boots, the boot perks, and then you have your gear perks, which is like your special gear, and it gives you the perks, and then the glove perks and vest perks. The only shitty part is if you're, they have all the skins in the game, which your skin is your skin, you're going to look like that. But if you're playing on a default skin, they didn't make it so that when you're adding that stuff to your character, it doesn't change the look of the character, which I think is a huge missed opportunity. Because if you remember back in like Black Ops 1 when you played the multiplayer, if you put the ghost perk on, your character was in a ghillie suit. If you put a certain perk on, your character changed the way they looked, which I thought was awesome because at a glance you could see what an enemy player was running real quick, and it kind of helped you, it while you were playing the game. I thought it was a really good idea. So I hope they change that, but I think it's a missed opportunity. The boots is the first one I wrote down. You have the climbing boots that increases your climbing, mantling speed, reduces your fall damage. Those are going to be available right away. The covert sneakers eliminates footstep sounds. Feel like that's going to have some controversy around it. We'll see. Reach level 27. I didn't get levels for all of these, but I looked as hard as I could. I tried to get as much as I could on each
Looks
one.
like you did.
Not on all of them. Near the end
for
there.
all the gear.
Yeah. The lightweight boots increases your movement and swim speed, reduces noise while swimming. That's that could be an interesting perk. The stalker boots increases your strafe and ADS movement speed, and the tactical pads are the ones I was talking about when we talked about the sliding. It increases your slide distance and allows for full ADS while sliding, and increases the stance transition speeds and crouched movement speed. Side note also, they did update. They are making it so you can shoot while sliding and immediately after sliding. So they just got rid of that delay completely. They got rid of the delays is what I'm seeing. All the delays for the sliding and sprinting. So people are going to be moving quick.
Very curious because you're going to choose that between that and covert sneakers. Nice.
Yeah, so if they made
That's what I said earlier. Like, really got to choose what you want.
Yep, they made that a tough choice. Honestly, I was thinking about that myself.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The gear perks, and this is like stuff that's it's kind of like on top. The look of it, each gear perk when you go to choose it has like a different look, and these ones are all like on your head or on your shoulders and stuff. Bone conduction headset reduces your combat noise completely, allowing improved identification of enemy footsteps and gunshots. So it's supposed to magnify those enemy footsteps and gunshots for you. I used it in the beta. I don't know how well it was working personally because there's just so much sound, and I'd have to really sit there and test out the difference to see what the difference is. EOD padding.
That must be better for Warzone.
Yeah, exactly. EOD padding reduces damage from non-kill streak explosives and fire. Everybody knows that one. Ghost TV camo while moving blocks detection by UAVs, enemy radar sources, and heartbeat sensors. So only while moving.
Oh, yeah.
LR detector warns of hostile laser and radiation sources, so you're high alert, if you will. Mission control comlink reduces kill streak cost by 1 kill, reduce score streak cost by 125. And that's a level 10. Tac mask reduces strength of enemy flash, stun, and gas grenades. Immunity to shock, EMP, and snapshot grenades. Level 9 is when you get that. And then for the gloves, we have the assault gloves. While jumping, these gloves will reportedly improve accuracy and time to ADS while jumping. Not sure on the level of that one. The commando gloves reload while sprinting. That's kind of a huge one.
Oof, yeah.
Yeah.
Something back for that.
Yep. That's at level 19. And then we have the marksman gloves, which reduce sway and flinch while ADS. Not sure on level on that one, but again, they're really making you pick and choose on your perks here, which I kind of like. Quick
Yeah, I
grip.
really like that. It's gonna make it really hard for Warzone games.
Quick grip gloves, increased weapon swap speed. That's going to be available right away. And then scavenger gloves, resupply ammo and throwing knives. Everybody knows about that good old perk. I run that so much in multiplayer. Specialist gloves help throw equipment farther and reset fuse timer on thrown back grenades. I love the specialist gloves. I am sad they put that in the same area as scavenger because I rock specialist so the strong arm in Modern Warfare 2 so much because I love that faster throw speed and the distance and being able to see where your stuff's going. I love that as well. But I don't think
I like that reset fuse timer. That's wicked.
Yeah, that's super wicked.
That's a big one.
They would have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. Tactical combat gloves. Or no, that's the same as the commando gloves. I don't know why that one's in there twice. I wasn't paying attention. I was tired when I was typing these up.
It's that good.
Enable reloading while sprinting. Yeah, it's the same one as the commando gloves. The vest perks. The CCT com vest can have 2 types of gear. You can equip tactical. So that's something they're changing up. The vest perks are going to change up kind of some of the stuff that you can and cannot equip. So it's going to make the playstyle. It's going to make the playstyle a little different. So you're really having to pick and choose and give up stuff here. The CCT com vest can have 2 types of gear. You can equip tactical and lethal equipment, increases duration of enemies getting detected by your radar. Your teammates in your radar will be zoomed out. Eliminated enemies will drop intel bucks. It helps in pinning your allies from your radar. So they're going to change up the stuff. The engineer vest allows you to have 2 tactical equipments instead of a lethal. You cannot equip a lethal equipment. It is recommended to become proficient with counter equipment and explosives. Spot your enemy equipment, field upgrades, and kill streaks through walls when aiming. Highlight and share with allies. Improve recharge speed of field upgrades. So big change to playstyle. I'm kind of excited about this. Having 2 tactical equipments, I could see that as being kind of fun just to fuck around with. You know what I'm saying? Like, can you imagine
strategy that goes with the builds here? I'm really liking.
Can you imagine getting stun grenaded and then flashed? Oh, dude.
That would be super annoying.
Oh, we're going to have some fun with these. Okay. We're going to have some fun with these.
For real. Especially at level 10.
And then, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Demolition vest. You can carry 2 types of lethal equipment. This is where it gets real bad. It is recommended to become proficient in lethal and tactical equipment. Resupply the lethal and tactical equipment every 25 seconds. Are you telling me that I can have a grenade, I can have drill charges and a throwing knife at the same time? Oh, good lord.
And then they recharge.
Oh, I'm going to be a menace. Gunner vest. You can carry 2 types of main weapons. Can have 2 types of gears. Cannot equip boots. So with the gunner vest with 2 primary weapons, you no longer get to have boots. That takes away the covert sneakers ability. So yeah, they're really making us pick and choose. I kind of got excited when I was reading through this.
And that's your like overkill for 2.
Yep.
2 ARs or like, you know, sniper. Like, damn.
Now in order to run a sweat one like that, which I mean, in all honesty, you almost have to in Warzone.
I mean, it's just gonna make
run around with it.
it's going to make a lot of people really choosy, and I feel like it's going to go, but we're going to go back to the strat of getting a loadout and then trying to get another loadout so we can get our first class with the perks that we want and then get another class with the weapons that we want, so you can have 2 primaries plus your covert sneakers. So it's going to make it a little bit more challenging to get into that comfy place where you have everything you want, because you don't get to start out with covert sneakers and have 2 primary weapons, which I'm excited about. I think that's a nice balancing feature personally. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I think that's nice.
So like if you get 2 loadouts, do they stack?
No,
Or
I
does
mean
one
like
set of
no, I
perks
mean
and
Like
like
stuff
so,
go
like
away?
it would be like so when you get a loadout now, you drop everything that you're carrying. So
Yeah.
you would get your loadout, then you would go to your second loadout, pick it up. You're dropping everything you're carrying, but then you get to pick up what you want.
yeah, so you can drop a set of perks and then re-equip a different set of perks, but have 2 primary weapons.
My only
I remember doing that in Warzone 1 all the time, because I go get
Yeah,
I go get a
everything's stacked.
go get a loadout with overkill, and then run to a different loadout and pick up a different loadout that had the perk set I want that didn't have overkill, so I could have that 3rd perk and then just pick my weapons back up, like that kind of shit. You know what I mean? And then yeah, the gunner vest that's gonna have some crazy shit. You can equip boots, have weapons and ammo focus vest. It's gonna be weapons and ammo. You start with max ammo with the gunner vest. And it has improved reload speed as well. So a lot of perks with that, but you can equip boots. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
The infantry vest is like your standard vest. It increases your attack sprint duration, increases refresh time, decreases refresh time of attack sprint. Duplicate effects do not stack. So that goes for all equipment. Duplicate effects do not stack. You cannot put 2 different things on. If you have the standard vest on, or the infantry vest, if you have the running sneakers, you cannot double the effects of the lightweight boots. You can't like double that up. So, which I like. So you're not double stacking perks, and someone's like running around like the goddamn Flash out there.
because that's what would happen too.
Yep.
Fuck.
Tactical equipment. Now I'm gonna just skip some of the stuff that we already know about in here in my notes. They did move the battle rage to tactical equipment, which I thought was an interesting change. It gives you an adrenaline rush, health regenerates quickly, and tactical equipment is resisted. So that could be an interesting change up to gameplay. The EMD grenade applies a tracking device to enemies hit, revealing them on your team's minimap. So I'm assuming that's going to act a lot like the bat grenade right now that we have in the Warzone event. And then the scatter mine is a new tactical equipment piece. You throw a field of mines across a wide area that detonate when enemies come within range. I don't know how much damage it's going to do or exactly what the effects are, but it is a tactical.
So it could that almost sounds like, depending on what they do with it, a nerfed version of the
Cluster mines.
cluster mine.
Yeah.
And to move that onto a button.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
That could be dirty.
Now with lethal equipment, we only have 2 new lethal equipment items coming. The breacher drone.
Favorite.
Yeah, the
Eli's
breacher drone.
favorite.
Eli's favorite. Explosive drone that explodes on proximity to an enemy or on impact. So you actually don't even have to hit an enemy directly. They just have to, the drone has to get next to someone and it will explode. And it's damaging. And then the thermal. Go ahead.
One thing to add to that though is it is a straight line. There's no arcing to it. It is
a straight line.
It is a B line. It is a straight line. So that would be one thing to add to that.
Yep, it is a very straight line. And then the thermobaric grenade. It is a cookable grenade, and it creates a large explosion that stuns and leaves a fiery residue and increases the lethality of explosives for a period of time.
Wow.
So the thermobaric could be an interesting play as well. Field upgrades. This is a short list as well. Big first thing to talk about there. They moved the heartbeat sensor to the field upgrade slot
rather than tactical.
Yep. I'm interested to see how that's going to work out. But with the addition of the heartbeat sensor added in,
They also added the med box, which you deploy a box of med supplies for you and your teammates. The other field upgrade I'm excited about because I'm a solo multiplayer player is the ACS, the automated computer spike. It slowly captures points and temporarily hacks nearby enemy devices. So if you're a solo player and your team, while you're playing multiplayer, is not playing objective and you're trying to fucking shoulder the whole thing, you can throw that down on a flag if you're playing domination or a hard point, and it will capture it for you, and then you can go post up somewhere and defend different lanes and stuff, so you don't have to rely on your shitty teammates. Pretty
That's
interesting.
amazing.
Yeah, pretty interesting. I wonder how that's gonna. I wonder what kind of effect that can have in Warzone. I'm interested to see how that can be used in Warzone and what it can be used for.
That's
Mhm.
that's a good point. The
Um,
only thing, based on what you just explained, the only thing I see that would be a benefit in Warzone is going to be the temporary hack of nearby enemy devices.
yep, I agree with you on
Like
that one.
claymores, proxies.
Yep, like if someone's
And
posted up,
let's-
if someone's posted up inside of a building, just being ratty as shit, you could throw that thing down and probably hack out any explosives they have.
just like
yep.
like the DDoS.
Yep. And then the last new field upgrade, which I'm having mixed feelings about, is anti-armor rounds. Gives weapon ammo that applies bonus damage against armored targets. This includes vehicles, equipment, body armor, and targets behind penetrable cover.
They already have that though.
The anti-armor rounds?
It is a
No, this is gonna be like stopping power. This is gonna be like
It's like
that.
FMJ.
Yeah, dude, this is gonna be like FMJ from the old games. Like it's
I
gonna
mean,
be,
yeah.
it's gonna
but
be like
you know what
it's
I
gonna
mean.
be like the ammunition types on crack.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the problem I see
But
with
you're gonna
that.
have to choose.
Yeah, but you do have to
There's
choose.
some good options there.
I could not find if they were still going to go with the ability to, because you know how once you get to a certain level, you have the pro ability to carry 2 field upgrades and you can switch between the two on the fly. I'm not sure if they're going to
Yeah.
let us do that again, but I would assume they're going to for multiplayer, just because, multiplayer, that makes sense to be able to choose between 2, at least in my opinion.
Right.
Mhm.
But that's pretty much all the new stuff I could find. We talked about maps a little bit. It's all the OG 2009 Modern Warfare 2 maps, so that are coming back, and then it looks like we're going to be getting Farm 18 right away, and a couple of the other Modern Warfare 2 maps from this game that we're playing. What is that? That's 2022? Was it 2021? That game came out 2022, I want to say. 2022.
Yeah. It's been out for a year.
Modern Warfare 2 22.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get a couple maps from that game. I'm hoping we don't get all the maps from that game. There's a couple maps, a few maps in particular that can go die in hell. In particular, the fucking map that's on the section of highway with all the cars in the middle, that map can go die in hell. It can go far, far away.
I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
I hated that shit. When someone would get a stealth bomber, it's like, dude, you go hide in the building in the very back. That's the only way you're safe.
Anyways, yeah, field upgrades, Modern Warfare 20 or Modern Warfare 2, anti-armor. Gives weapon ammo that applies bonus damage against armored targets. This includes
I guess we
vehicles,
do.
equipment, body armor, and targets behind penetrable cover.
I guess we do have that. I never use it, so.
Yeah. I mean, it literally looks just like the munitions box, except for there's shells laying around it.
Oh, okay. So I guess we do have that.
I don't think that's like that's not like current though. I remember that being around, but I think that's not like a current thing.
It is.
So they must be bringing it back.
No, I've always chosen between it. It all just depends on if I'm playing solo on Warzone, I run anti-armor, or I try to find anti-armor rounds just because of that, because it is a solo thing. Like your munitions box, if I drop it down, everyone on the team gets it. If I pop an anti-armor round, it just loads a new magazine and it's only for me. So
interesting.
but yeah, that's to say I'm not on my phone. I booted up my PlayStation just to check it
Oh.
out, just to make sure I was looking at current information.
Nice.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Wow. I
yeah,
never.
it's there.
I completely forgot that was a field upgrade because I.
I remember that
always-
was like ground loot at one point.
Yeah. I mean, it's been ground loot but yeah, it is, at least in the multiplayer side, it is equipable.
Okay. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Cool.
Yeah, but for Modern Warfare 3, that's pretty much really all I got to talk about. I don't know if anybody has anything to add.
I haven't seen anything on it.
I definitely do not.
Yeah, no, that was and that was a lot of information. So, I mean, I'd rather have all this information out, get it out there. So, I guess the other thing we can jump into that we can discuss a little bit, on the video game side. I don't know if you guys seen all the news. I don't know what's going on over. I'm sure it just has something to do with revenue, because there was a report not too long ago that Bungie was 45% below projections for the year. They had a massive drop off.
Sony.
Yeah, man, I don't think it comes as any surprise. They've been shooting themselves in the foot, honestly. Just making terrible decisions.
I mean, me and Joe especially, and I know that Steven a little bit also probably can. We can definitely speak on Destiny 2, and like that's why
I was so bored, man.
Yeah, like
Destiny,
they lost it. Like the Witch Queen gave me a little bit of hope. I was like kind of excited again. I was like, this is kind of cool. The story's cool, and then it just went downhill from there.
Yeah, the Witch Queen had great vibes. It had great environment, atmosphere. I mean, obviously, Destiny's not the great at or adding new activities. We've been playing the same fucking strikes since forever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone's just burned out on the same content, just, with a different theme. It's the same thing with a different theme every single time.
It's the same thing from the first game. First game, hands down, amazing. We all stopped everything else. At least I did. I stopped everything else for 2 years.
Yeah.
Only played Destiny.
Yeah, Taken King for me changed my life. I remember the first raid I did in the Taken King. I was like, whoa, this is it for me, man. I don't ever want to play another game again. But here we are.
Right. And then, but Destiny 2, the story, I couldn't do the story on it. It was just boring. It felt like a grind to get through the story. Whereas in Destiny 1, the grind for me didn't happen until after
it went through so many different writers was the problem. Like the original vision was okay. I mean, the story wasn't, it was easier to follow, but when you have so many different people's hands in something, it just gets really convoluted and just very confusing. Not to say that, it doesn't have a start and an end, but what happens in between there is just frankly goofy.
Well, and the other thing about Destiny that I don't like is I hate that when people who don't play the game ask me about Destiny and ask me if they should start playing it. I feel the urge to tell them no more than I feel the urge to tell them yes.
It's so bad for new players.
The onboarding process for Destiny 2 is so terrible for new players who have no idea what's going on, because they've removed so much content that's viable, like so important to the story, that if you want to know what's going on, you have to go to YouTube and watch a YouTube video to get the lore. And it's not just like, one YouTube, like you could find one YouTube video, but it's probably going to be 4 hours long. Like, the game has been going.
Why would you sunset something that's like so important to story?
Yeah,
and
that's why
we all paid for that too, man. Like, where I want my money back. Then if I can't play this, then give me my money back.
Yeah, like I have spent more money on Destiny than any other game that exists, and I will 100% admit that. Like, that's why, like, when a new game comes out and it's like $100 pre-order, to myself I kind of just laugh, because it's like, people don't even know the type of shit that I spent money on Destiny, because each new pack is for the basic ass bitch version that doesn't include any of the season passes for the entire year is like $40. And if you want the big boy one,
it's a joke.
Yeah, and if you want the big boy one with all of the extra stuff and all of the season passes included, it's like $100 pre-order. And so,
bro, if you started on PlayStation and then want to play on PC, you have to buy all that shit twice, and then same on Xbox. You can't even like game share anything. Like, there's something with Destiny that does not let you game share anything. Like, you can game share everything else on Xbox, but Destiny 2 does not let you share shit.
Yep, and it's disgusting. What to me really pisses me off is now that I've deleted it, like I don't feel bad missing out on any of the stuff that I paid for this last season pass. I don't care because I'm just done. Like that game is such a life suck. You cannot just play that game casually once a week. It
No.
doesn't work that way. If you want to
Hell
be
no.
competitive and play that game at all and keep up, you have to play that game for a couple hours every day. Every day.
Oh,
Right.
dude.
And that's why it'll never have a competitive scene, man.
Yep.
Like they don't do enough, and it has so much potential, man. I remember having so much fun. I had more fun playing, PvP, just multiplayer in Destiny, and then it just became this meta grind of like what's the best fucking hand cannon, this and that, and oh man, I
Yep.
couldn't handle it anymore.
Yep, no, and it makes me sad because the multiplayer in Destiny was so fun. Like that game had so many great aspects to it, and the graphics are so pretty, and the gunplay is so excellent. That's what kept me in that game for so long. As salty as
Yeah,
I
the art
was,
style is so good.
yeah, as salty as I was about so many things in that game, that's what kept me so enamored with it is because the game plays so well. It's so
It
much
felt
fun.
ahead of its time, is
Yeah,
what it was for
yeah,
me.
it felt so good to run through a mission and it made you feel invincible and powerful as you were doing it because you could just eliminate people and eliminate like you were just blowing shit up and taking things out left and right. And they did it in such a way that it the gameplay loop was addictive. And so
Hell
now,
yeah.
now that they've locked all this stuff behind paywalls, and it's just not the same game anymore. They made it free to. I agree with you, Joe, on the free to play thing. The free to play on Destiny ruined that game.
Absolutely, man.
100%.
I could go on for hours about Destiny, and it'll always hold a special place in my heart. Don't get
Well,
me
yeah.
wrong, man. I've spent so much time in that game, and
Mhm.
I
Oh, big
think
time.
it's fair to say that we've all probably, if you've spent any, any amount of time with it, eventually you're going to burn out. But man, it's just sad to see some of the paths they chose with, just locking cosmetics behind paywalls. And we used to get so much, and it used to just feel more like a smaller community with Destiny, and then it just blew up into this thing, and it's just so corporate, and it's
Well,
just
Big time.
less effort. You know what I mean?
they're definitely having issues because they made the decision to cut about 1,200 staff from the studio.
Jeez.
Yeah, they're
1,200.
falling apart internally, from what
Yeah.
I understand.
1,200
Yeah.
people, that's a lot of people that just got laid off.
Yeah.
And I follow a couple of different I follow there's a specific podcast I listen to called Game On Daily, and it's got a few guys from across the pond, if you will, that always have different people on, and they were laughing, saying, all these people from Bungie just got laid off. Maybe 343 should reach out, make Halo something it was again, get some people
Yeah,
back.
no shit, right? And that's
Yeah.
another point I was gonna make is like nobody will ever make shooters like, like Bungie does, honestly.
Yep.
I've never played a game that, felt so good in the shooting as far as Bungie games, and that includes old Halo games. It's just they know what they're doing, and it's sad to see that the resources aren't there for Destiny, and the attention isn't there anymore. But there's been rumors that this was going to happen, just because Marathon is on the horizon, and
Well,
most of the resources were going towards that anyway. So I think we all kind of saw the writing on the wall with this, and
I'm-
I don't think PlayStation, did this whole acquisition with Bungie for Destiny. I think Destiny
No.
3 is going to make a big splash whenever they decide to do that. But I think the writing was always on the wall with Destiny 2. It's been around for a while now.
Dude, I don't know. Do you really think after this that Bungie's going to bring in a D3?
I think eventually. I don't think it'll be eventually. I think Marathon will run its course. And I honestly, I think by the time Destiny 3 comes around, they probably won't even be under PlayStation's umbrella again. Bungie has this tendency to, kind of bounce around, be indie for a while, get their funding, share their trade secrets. That's all PlayStation wanted them for, was their knowledge, for online. And that's another thing that, it's not just Bungie right now that's kind of losing people. It's PlayStation as a whole,
Mhm.
like a lot of their studios were, being told to make these sort of games, and they don't want to. So a lot of people at Sony are leaving in droves, unfortunately. And I have to say, I don't really like the direction that they're taking. They've been known to make a certain amount of game, and that's what's that's just been their marketing ploy this entire time. And it in my opinion, it's done them pretty well. They've been market leaders. I know there's a place for it, and we're headed to that future, but I just think it's a little too soon. There's so many good creatives at Sony that they're just, they're gonna lose and shoot themselves in the foot over this whole live service bullshit. It's just a shame.
No, I 100% agree with you. And it's funny that you brought up Marathon because that was something I was going to mention is I seen an article, and I'm not sure how true this is. It could be false, but I seen an article mentioning that Bungie brought in a group of Escape from Tarkov YouTube content creators to try out Marathon.
Interesting.
Now, see, I'm immediately confused because what are we getting with Marathon? My question is, why did you choose a group of Tarkov content creators to come in and try that game
Yeah,
out?
what is this marathon game? And
Yes.
that's another thing I was gonna say too, is like we kinda knew, but we don't. We like honestly, we don't really know shit, do we?
No, we don't. They just literally they gave us, it's like the same thing they gave us with Starfield in the very beginning. They gave you like the picture of like the title screen and like a fucking word that says Marathon. That's all they gave us.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and it
yeah,
could be anything.
exactly. So the fact that they chose Tarkov content creators to go in there and try out the game makes me really question what type of game Marathon is looking to be.
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah. I think that speaks volumes, honestly.
yeah, because Tarkov is a great game if you're into that milsim content. Like I watch a ton of the gameplay. It's exciting, it can be really fun, but also I see in the Reddit posts and on Twitter how plagued that game is with cheaters.
Oh, absolutely. And
Exactly.
I think that's something that hopefully, Bungie would be able to solve. But Tarkov is absolutely the worst
Yeah.
of any game. And it's confirmed. There's so many, it's so well documented at this point. I don't know if you saw the Wiggle video, but it's like uh, uh, this inside thing that everyone knows that's a cheater. And if you have wall hacks and you do this wiggle move, it's like a sign to say, "Hey, I'm a cheater too. Leave me alone," sort of thing. If you haven't watched it, look it up. It is so fascinating.
That's crazy. That's nuts. See, and that's why
I'll
like
link it to you. I'll
okay.
link it to you
Yeah,
eventually.
definitely. Yeah, definitely do. No, it's just that it was so interesting to me that they chose those people to go play that game because I'm not looking to have a Tarkov experience. Like I bought Tarkov for my PC. It runs decently enough on my PC that I can play it. It's not something that I'm into. I played a couple matches and ran around with a couple of my homies and we did a couple things. It's just not something I'm into. Like I don't like having to manually click each bullet into my clip into my magazine before I load it into my weapon. Like I'm not trying to get that
Yeah, I
realistic
totally
with it,
agree. Like
dude.
Tarkov really isn't my thing, but I would hope, because there's plenty of games and other subgenres and different
Yep.
genres in general that like I don't typically like that genre, but sometimes there's that one diamond in the rough that's just like, I'm gonna try this game. And it's nothing I would have, normally liked. So maybe with Bungie's spin, maybe it's not exactly like
See,
Tarkov. I'm sure it'll have more polish with it being Bungie.
I'm hoping
Um,
I'm hoping
I
that
would assume and hope so. So, hopefully it's not. I don't see it just being a straight, Tarkov clone or anything like that. I'm sure they'll put their Bungie magic on it or whatever. But
yeah, I hope
hopefully it's not too similar, because I agree Tarkov doesn't look like my cup of tea whatsoever.
Right.
But
yeah, because like Call of Duty tried to do the Tarkov thing with DMZ, and I won't lie, I've had a couple fun matches in DMZ.
Dude, DMZ was my shit for a little bit.
Yeah, I had a couple fun matches in DMZ just because there was some fun where like I turned on the proximity chat and like with the proximity chat on in DMZ, that to me is what made it fun because like if you're looking for stuff and trying to do a certain objective and you run into an enemy team,
half the time you can talk to them and be like, hey dude, I'm just trying to do this, I don't want to fight, I'll give you this, we can trade, whatever. Sometimes people will trade with you and then you can go your separate ways. I do enjoy that aspect of that. Like I thought that
That is
was
kind of
always,
cool.
I always thought that was cool. But I'm also, I didn't play it that much. Like I played it to unlock a couple weapons, that was it. But besides that,
Yeah.
I didn't get into the DMZ thing. And same thing with Tarkov. Like it just isn't for me. And I'm hoping, and like you said, sometimes there's that diamond in the rough. So maybe Marathon, maybe Bungie will spin it in a way that I really like it. And I feel the same way about that's why I'm excited to try out Baldur's Gate 3 when it eventually comes out on Xbox, is where I want to get it. And I want to play that game, and I'm hoping maybe it will be, like you said, a diamond in the rough. It'll be one of those turn-based games that I actually enjoy playing.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Actually, that's funny that you bring that up because there's genres like turn-based, and then there's subgenres, and not every turn-based game is exactly the same. They're not the same
Right.
battle style. Like Persona 5's turn-based system is not at all the same of something that you would see in Baldur's Gate 3. So to categorize and bunch every game up into turn-based, and therefore I don't like those games because they're turn-based. It's like there's always going to be some subgenre of that's not going to be what you had in mind, sort of thing. Like if you play Final Fantasy Tactics, that turn-based system is not it's I mean it's technically turn-based, but it's not like something like Persona 5 you know or even Final Fantasy VII Remake. There's technically a turn-based or action-based, whatever you decide to choose in that game, but they're also just different from one another. And that's what I tell people is like, if it's maybe not, turn-based isn't normally your thing, just maybe kind of, put a microscope on that and see the system more, under a microscope and see if it's something you'd be interested in.
Yeah, see, I did sit and watch some Persona gameplay. I think it was Persona 4. I forget which one it was because I know there's a couple different versions of Persona 4. I think it's the Persona 4 one. There's like Persona 4 Tactica and then like Persona 4 something else, I think, Joe.
You mean Persona 5?
Oh, Persona 5. I'm sorry, I always get the numbers mixed up on that one.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that because Persona 5 Royale actually just left Game Pass, and then Tactica is coming in November
Okay.
like 17th, I believe.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily know what the differences are, and I don't even exactly remember which one I watched, but I did watch like a good 30 minutes of like a playthrough of, I think it was Persona 5. I want to say it was I want to say it was Royale. I might be Tactica. I forget which one it
Yeah,
was.
Royale is the main line. Like Persona 5 Royale is like the main line. Like Tactica, that's just like a spin-off. I'm not really a fan of the Persona spin-off games
Okay.
at all. They're
Okay.
they're kind of just different genres and different games altogether. Some turn-based, some not. But for me, yeah, the mainline ones are where it's at. They're so good, man.
Yeah.
Like for a turn-based game, it kind of feels like they can move so fast, even though they're turn-based. Like once you get the hang of it and get into that flow, it can kind of almost feel like it's so stylish and so, kind of hypey in that moment. Like it gets you hyped up. The music's so good. It doesn't really feel like a strategic turn-based game. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, see, and I watched some gameplay and it kind of caught my interest a little bit, but the thing I was worried with is it felt, to me it reminded me of how I felt when I was watching The Witcher, where I was like, this looks interesting. And then I found myself playing The Witcher and I found myself having a hard time getting to the end of just the main story. I haven't even touched the DLC. I just found that game wasn't for me. I'm not saying that The Witcher is bad by any means. I found myself with that same feeling. I'm not trying to compare the two games. I'm just saying, like, I found myself, feeling the same way, and I'm worried, like, and I might download it and try it because it'll be on Game Pass. I can try the spin-off one at least and see how that one feels. But I just worry that I'm gonna start it and then halfway through I'm gonna be like, it's not for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would try a mainline before you play a spin-off because the spin-offs are very heavily tied to the story of
Okay.
Persona 5. So they add on to the story. So it's not something I would suggest to jump into.
Okay.
If you want to get into Persona, none of the mainline games are connected, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are all different stories, different universe. But the spin-offs of Persona 5 are tied to the story of Persona 5. So it's kind of weird in that way. So, some of them you can get away with it because the story doesn't really matter, but I have no idea about the Tactica game because I probably won't play it anyway.
Okay.
The mainline games are kind of my thing. Um, but honestly, they're so niche. JRPGs in general, they are so niche. So I totally get it. That's a kind of a weird example to, I do recommend those games to people, but they are so out there, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? That sometimes I'm kind of weary if you're not
That's up.
like if you're not like a variety gamer in general, I don't usually recommend them to people just because they are fucking niche, and I get that.
Yep. And so well it's I like the same thing. I feel the exact same way about the Yakuza games. I see them in Game Pass. I've watched gameplay. They look interesting to me, but again, it looks like another game I'm going to lose interest in halfway through just cuz it's just not going to keep my interest cuz I've never found myself a huge fan of JRPGs. So,
Absolutely, yeah. And I think a lot of that comes from, I grew up on like the PS2 and like
mhm.
PS1, and a
Mhm.
lot of those weirdo games, like that's what we played on PlayStation. We had a lot of weird Japanese
Big
games, man.
time.
See, I
Some
Big
had
time.
weird shit.
Yeah, we
And I
did.
love it, dude. I eat that shit up.
I had a PlayStation 2, but my dad was the one who bought me all my games, and I'll be like, I'll never forget this. My dad, I called my dad, and he's like, hey, I got you a new game, and I was like, what game is it? I was 9 years old, and he goes, I don't know. I seen it when my friend's kid playing it when I was in Billings, and you could shoot guns and steal cars and throw grenades, and lo and behold, it was Grand Theft Auto 3. I get home as a
Hell yeah.
9-year-old kid, and that was where I fell in love with
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto because I was 9 years
Yeah.
old and I got to steal a car and drive around and run people over. I was like, this is incredible. Like,
Right.
but I had a PS2 as well, but that's the thing I love about the PS2 generation specifically is there were so many games that I know a few people that just had different experiences. Like, I didn't play any JRPGs on my PS2. I played Star Wars Bounty Hunter, GTA 3. I was really into those ATV off-road Fury games. I played those nonstop because I just loved racing four-wheelers around the track over and over again. Um, that was when I got into one of the first Call of Duty games I think was on PS2. I forget which one it was, but that was one of the first times I played Call of Duty back in the day. And then it was shortly after that I got an Xbox and I had the OG Xbox, and that's kind of where I stuck for a while. But the PS2, like I was looking at the list of games, it's close to 1,000. I think it's pretty close to
It's more
1,000.
than that.
Is
It's
it?
more than that.
Oh my
It's like
god.
it's like 2,000. It has the largest library of any other console aside from. Well, no, I think it is the largest. I think the Wii is the next largest library,
Oh my
maybe.
god. 2,000? That's way more than I thought. Holy moly. Yeah,
Our
that's
PS2 is legendary, man. Best
yeah.
console
Dude,
ever.
You could
for
have,
sure.
and that's the great thing is you could have such with that many games, I guarantee you so many different people had, different experiences growing up with that console because it's like a
Hmm.
lot of people played JRPGs. I never played a single Final Fantasy and I owned a PS2 for a long time.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I mostly meant like PS1 to
Oh yeah.
PS2. Like a lot of those games started on PS1 and then sequels and whatnot were
Mhm.
on the PS2, but um I mean technically, my gaming journey began on like the SNES, mostly the Super Nintendo. I did play
Yep.
a little bit of original NES, not a whole lot. I was really really young during that age, or during that era, but
Yeah.
the SNES, man, that's when JRPGs were fucking king. And then the PS1, that's when the 3D era, became a thing. Games were kind of janky in that era, but I mean, Final Fantasy VII came out in '97. That was a PS1 exclusive, and that game,
So
that game, it's so weird to look back and people consider that like one of the greatest games of all time because it doesn't hold up, and I think people nowadays get confused when people say that because that game looks like shit. If you didn't
it
grow
does.
up, playing that game, it just looks like trash, and I get it, but yeah, the SNES to PS1, it's just weird how there was a paradigm shift where JRPGs were king, on Nintendo and PlayStation, before Xbox was a thing or whatever.
I agree.
But
No,
I do miss those days.
I do agree. Like, see, and like, I feel like the first person shooter thing was
I got so enamored to it so early because like I had a PS2 with Grand Theft Auto, and it was like shortly a couple years after that. I don't remember exactly the years that everything released, but I'm just like, I think it was like within a couple years after that. I went to my cousin's house, and he had just gotten an Xbox with Halo Combat Evolved, like right when that
Oh
came out.
god, that
Exactly.
game
And
changed
dude,
everything.
the first time I played that game, I was like, this is incredible. Like I bothered my parents
Yeah.
so much to get an
Oh, yeah.
Xbox after that so I could have Halo because I just wanted to play Halo. I was like, this game is the coolest thing I've ever played. And then from the
I know,
Xbox,
dude, it's crazy to think that like Xbox had that era of just online, being the online kings essentially, and Halo just being this fucking incredible thing. Like, what happened to Halo? God damn it! Like, what
like
happened?
it was like I always say, like my favorite Halo to play online was during the Xbox 360 days, during Halo 3 time. Like I don't think there's a lot of people that would disagree with me saying that for multiplayer games, the 360 was like the golden age of multiplayer games. Like if
Absolutely,
there was
yeah.
an advertisement for a video game on TV, it had an Xbox 360 symbol on it, and that's what it was. Like everybody was talking about Xbox Live. Like that's what everybody was talking about all the time. And that's where I
Yeah, the
first played Call
infrastructure
of
didn't
Duty.
even come until way later, I think, on PS3,
Well, yeah,
like years later.
yep, they had the PSN, and I had a PS3 through all of that, and I played my games online on PS3, and I will never forget the entire month that me and my friends who had PS3s, had to sit and play games offline because the PSN network got hacked and was shut down for an entire month.
I remember that too.
Yep, I will never forget that, dude. I had a PS3, and that was during, I want to say that was during Black Ops, the OG Black Ops time. Like right after that came out, there had been already some DLCs out for it and stuff, and we had to sit for an entire month and not play Call of Duty online. It sucked.
Right.
Yeah, there was a lot
Um,
of weird things for PlayStation going on, with the pricing of the PS3, with it being hard to develop games on because they had the what was it called,
Yep,
the cell CPU that they used.
yep.
Games were so hard. Skyrim at launch on the
Was
PS3 was the biggest piece of shit.
Yep.
Like, I know Bethesda games are buggy, but we're talking about like unplayable levels of just shit
Yeah,
on the PS3.
on PS3 it was rough because when Skyrim first came out, we were all super hyped for it because all the homies and myself included were all Oblivion fans. We just we all play Oblivion, and so when Skyrim came out on the PS3, my homie Michael got it first, and I will never forget seeing some of the glitches of that shit. Like it was so rough, dude. And then as most Bethesda games do, for somehow slowly get better. And I remember putting hours in on the PS3 because eventually, at one point near the end of the PS3's life cycle, that game played pretty smooth. But it took them a fucking while, dude. It took them a
Oh
while.
yeah, a lot of games got really good once people, figured out how to finally develop for it because, to Sony's defense, that thing kind of was ahead of its
Oh
time,
yeah,
but that was also its problem and its, kind of slow start is no one knew how to use the damn thing. No one knew
yep,
how to program for it or anything. It was its own architecture and yeah, man, it was really, really rough there, and slow going for the PS3. If it wasn't for the Red Ring of Death, I don't know if Sony would have recovered. It was
yep.
kind of
yeah,
like Xbox
yeah.
had their problems, Sony had their problems.
Dude,
But yeah, man, what a weird time in gaming. But I loved how competitive gaming was in that era.
yep, I agree with you. Like the PS3, to be honest, it's in my it had some of my top games of all time. Number like it's in my top 5. I couldn't put a number on it to be honest, but the Infamous games. I don't know if anybody else besides myself played those.
Oh yeah, I love those
I,
games.
1 and 2 on the PS3. I played those games more times than I can count. Both of those games were so much fun. You could be evil, you could be good. There was a range of different powers in the second one. There was an ability where you were like essentially you could become a neon person and just run up the side of buildings it was one of it was like Prototype on crack. It was so good. It was one of the
Yeah, I
best
think
games
the
I've
first
ever
one was
played.
a launch game, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Number one.
the first one was a launch game, and that's what made me want to get a PS3. Is I remember going into Walmart back when they had those
things that would break your neck because you're looking up trying to
Ah,
play the demo.
Right, right.
Right. And I played
I love
Infamous
those.
in the store for like 30 minutes while my mom was shopping. I was like, you can just leave me here. I'm going to try this. And I sat and played that
Yep.
demo for 30 minutes. I was like, this is the coolest shit I have ever played in my fucking life. I need this game. And so as soon as I got a PS3, that was the first game I bought. I remember that distinctly with my PS3. That was the first game I bought was Infamous. And then when they came out with Infamous 2, I had that shit right away as well cuz those games were fire. And I want a PS5 really bad cuz I really want to play Spider-Man 2. All the gameplay clips I've seen, the game looks incredible. It looks like a ton of fun. They added some new cool features which add a challenge to the game where you can turn off your swinging assistance so it doesn't guide you away from buildings and the ground and stuff. So if you are not careful, you can swing right into a fucking building and like die.
Interesting, man. Those games are such a
Oh,
joy. I think
yeah.
those are some of the few games that I actually, trophy hunted and 100%ed just because it was just so much fun to do so, and they push you in the direction to be a completionist on
Yep.
accident. Like
The-
it's just so much fun.
Yeah, the first Spider-Man game, the 2018 Spider-Man, I have that. I have the PS Plus stuff for my PlayStation 4, so I can download that and Ghost of Tsushima when I want to, because Ghost of Tsushima's goated. Um,
So
but
good.
Spider-Man, I bought it again I bought it on Steam so I could have the Spider-Man remastered on my computer because that game is just so good. I could play that game for hours. Like it is so much fun to swing around that map and beat the shit out
Yeah,
of
just
people.
swinging around, man. It's such a joy. I can't believe how much fun it is just swinging.
Yeah, like it made me. I don't know if you guys remember on PlayStation 2, the OG Spider-Man 2, and they had
Oh, hell yeah.
yeah, they had what's his face? I forget that guy's name. Do the announcing where he was like a narrator for the game and he like talked you through some of the tutorials and he would like narrate some stuff that would happen. I forget what that guy's name is. He's a pretty famous actor. But I played that Spider-Man 2 game so many times, fighting Doc Ock and the alien threat
Yeah.
when they come in. Like I played that game so many times. It was so well done for a PlayStation 2 game. The first Spider-Man game, you could run around on the street and then swing off the street and swing off of buildings and shit. That was incredible for its time. And so the moment I played that Spider-Man 2018, I was like, this is it. This is the Spider-Man game I was waiting for.
Yeah.
4,218 PS2 games.
I just did a quick scan
4,000?
through that. I just did a quick
I knew it
scan
was
through that
nuts.
YouTube video. I didn't see any backwards compatibility games on there either because remember the PS2 was backwards compatible, so that even increases the library bigger.
Oh,
Yeah, I knew it was something
shit.
ridiculous. I knew it
That's-
was one
That's
of the largest
US,
or the
Europe,
biggest.
and Japan. 4,218. I did see Game Radar posted an article where in 2011 this guy had a comprehensive sealed collection of over 1,800.
Oh my god.
But I don't know if that was just US games.
a sealed
Jesus
collection of
Christ.
1,800? God, that's
Yeah,
worth
like
some
they were
money.
all sealed.
He's rich.
And then even then on there, and this was in 2011, it said they're still currently producing PS2 games, so this collection is not complete.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's another fact I was going to say. Like Just Dance. I was talking to Chow about this in his chat, but we were talking about Wii and Wii U games and how basically every single Wii U port kind of had like, well, not every single Wii U game, but more Wii games were released during the Wii U era than Wii U games because the Wii was so popular that
Yep.
they basically gave it more support than the Wii U. So that's funny that you say that because like Just Dance has continually been released on Wii even to this day and PS2 just because so many fucking people had them. It's incredible.
That's crazy that
But
they're
yeah.
still releasing those on those consoles. I want to know what it looks like on an OG PS2. I want to know what a brand new Just Dance looks like on a PlayStation 2. That I am seriously curious about. Like, I guess it is just video, mostly, right? Like, it's just video.
Right.
So I guess it wouldn't be the worst thing. Oh my God, that's hilarious to me. That's crazy. That's super crazy. But that's cool.
That's a almost 12-hour video that I posted up in the notes.
Okay, yeah, I'll check that out. That's nuts. Yeah, I didn't realize there was that many games, but yeah, my plan is eventually to get a PS5 just because there are games that are going to come out on PS5. Like I've in my opinion, Sony would be dumb not to eventually release another game in the Uncharted series or something along that, even if it's a spin-off or a new thing. I those games are another in my top 5. I've played all the Uncharted games and I love them dearly.
I
Dearly.
believe those were released on Steam not long ago,
Oh,
right?
might have to
I
check
think
that
so.
out. Might have to because the first ones would play really good on my PC. Even probably the
Yeah, for
last
sure.
fourth one would play pretty decent on my PC actually. But
Yeah,
the Uncharted games are another one that I fell in love with those games. I love the way they feel. I love running up and punching people in those games. The impacts are great on that game.
yeah,
Um
they are a ton of fun,
yeah.
and I really hope Sony does continue to release games on PC. That's the only thing that's really stopped me from getting a PS5, is I'm like, well, it seems like they're starting to slowly release all these games, so maybe I'll just kind of pump the
Mhm.
brakes a little bit and, see how far this goes.
Mhm. There was rumors that maybe PlayStation might have been working on its own PC launcher of some sort, but who
Yeah, it's actually it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of time, I think, because they've already, you know, they've drawn up the plan to do it. It's just a matter of executing it because they made, I think Horizon Zero Dawn was one of the first ones they released on PC, and it blew their expectations away. And Steam has like a 30% fee, so yeah, of course Sony's gonna want in,
all the money
on
they
all
can.
all that profit, not
Yeah.
not have to give Steam 30%.
And
So,
it wouldn't surprise me if they really went for it now that the ABK deal closed, because they're going to lose a chunk of profit with the Call of Duty thing changing after the contract's over. Like they're not going to lose all the profit, but they're definitely going to lose a chunk of it from that because they're not going to get as much, I'm sure.
oh yeah, their
Oh,
marketing deals are
big
going to be
fact,
fucked.
big
I mean, if
fact.
you see
Mhm.
any Modern Warfare 3 commercial, it's got Sony symbols and marketing all over it.
Yep.
So, that does drive console sales, whether people want to believe it or not.
Oh no, it 100% does. It's like 46% of Call of Duty's player base is on PlayStation. So, um it's gonna have a huge effect on their bottom line.
Oh,
So it
big
wouldn't surprise me if they
big
get a
time.
PC launcher out fat sooner rather than later, just so that they can recoup that cash.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That they could be making hundreds of millions of dollars more just by doing that on each game. So yeah,
Oh,
I definitely see that happening sooner than later.
we lost Mad Dog for a second. Oh, he's back. Okay.
I meant to mute my mic and I pushed the wrong button.
It's okay. It's okay. Um, I think that's pretty much everything I got on video games, unless anybody's got any other interesting news to add.
Yeah, I have a couple
Okay,
things.
yeah, go for it, Joe.
There's rumors that Baldur's Gate should be coming to Xbox December 6th is what sources are saying. Of
Ooh.
course that's not confirmed by Larian or anything, but that seems to be the general consensus, is Wednesday, December 6th is what they're shooting for. Um, the few games leaving or that left Game Pass, like I said, Persona 5
Mm-hmm.
was the biggest one. But also Persona 5 Tactica is coming November 17th. I found that a little bit strange that they're removing the mainline game and adding the spinoff, but it is what it is. Other than that, Alan Wake, it's supposed to be getting a pretty hefty update for Xbox,
Oh, okay.
PS5, and PC. Um, Improvements to image quality on console and performance mode on Xbox Series X, so that'll be good.
Okay.
I think
Also,
there's some audio stuff too that they're doing
yeah,
with
I
that.
heard it. I heard it kind of had some graphical issues on Xbox and PC. Maybe I can't remember, but that's supposed to be getting fixed, so that'll be nice.
Okay.
Um, Starfield.
Yeah, there
Starfield
was.
is getting a big chunky update. It'll be coming to PC first through the Steam beta. Through the Steam beta. With it comes NVIDIA
I was
DLSS.
just gonna say, wasn't it
Um,
DLSS?
Yeah, and display and HD controls and other optimizations. Honestly, the the DLSS has kind of been patched by the community already, so they probably should have focused more on the consoles for this one because consoles are AMD based. So FSR3 is coming later after this patch.
Yeah,
So
I s-
that seems a little goofy to me to fix what's already been fixed on PC. They should be optimizing console first, in
yeah.
my opinion. But it's good to see them, still supporting one way or another. So
Yeah, I did hear that they said something about they promised something like 5 years of dedicated support for Starfield. So who knows if it'll go longer than that. I'm sure
yeah,
if
who knows if they'll stick to that or not. It's good to see that they are still supporting it, well after launch, and
yeah,
it's just
I
I wish
definitely
they would just focus on other things first,
I definitely
before DLSS.
I just watched a video short shout out to one of my other favorite YouTube dudes, Mr. Matty Plays. He just released a video, I think it was like in the last couple days, of some updates about Starfield, and he was talking about how it's still in the top 10 most played on Xbox right now, so they're definitely got to be seeing those numbers. So I hope they keep going with the supports. Like I was excited to see that they added the FOV slider. Finally, I did hop in for a second to check that out, and it definitely makes the game look better to me. I'm interested to see what that FSR update's gonna do, and
Yeah, I think that's much needed, honestly. FSR is pretty amazing, honestly. DLSS and FSR are just great
yeah, well,
AI upscalers, and they're needed in this game.
yeah, for sure. I think they'll definitely, like most Bethesda games, over the next couple years, by it'll be fine. It'll run like it should have when it like it should have when it came out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not looking like we're gonna get any kind of uh, anything chunkier than that. I really wish they would have worked more on maps. Pre-launch. That I can't believe that wasn't in the game, and I expected it to be in the game by now. I just find it so clunky getting around any of the towns, and it's very frustrating. So it's a little sad to see that that's not in the game yet, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
They're
Maddie.
expected, from what I understand,
Yeah, Maddie thinks
2024 or something like that.
that's what Maddie said. Maddie said we'll probably get some of those bigger updates later after we after we get into the meat of it. Really, they're gonna start giving those bigger features in like that, like the map and stuff. They'll need to work them up, which I mean, there's a decent like the other day or the last time I played, I found a settlement that I didn't even know existed. It's not like a big city by any means, but it had like a general store and like missions to do and stuff. I didn't even know it existed. Like I was like, it's stuff like that. There's probably some more settlements. They're gonna have to make a decent amount of maps for it at least. So I'm expecting that one to take a little bit of time just because of how many different maps they're gonna have to make.
Yeah, they got some work to do, to say the least.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm
because
glad
like,
to see them supporting it and making the promises. Hopefully, they
mhm,
hold true. But
I
all
hope
I
so
know is
too.
that this shit is not going to fly with the Elder Scrolls 6. So hopefully, they
Yeah,
kind of learn their lessons. And
I want them to not go
you
so
know
big.
my feelings on the creation engine.
Mhm.
But if they choose to go that route, that's their prerogative. But I really don't think they should. I really think Starfield was held back by the creation engine. I really, really hope they move on from it. They probably won't, but
Mhm.
here's me wishing in one hand and shitting in the other, I guess.
Yeah, like I hope they don't go as big with Elder Scrolls, only because that it could hurt the game more than it could help the game.
Yeah, and the problem is the engine was ahead of its time at one point in its life, and the problem is all these young developers, they're not learning on the creation engine. All the people that did all these great games, Morrowind, Skyrim, they're not there. They're directors, but they're not doing the brunt of it. They're not doing the low level coding jobs like this. They're all working on Unreal,
Mm-hmm.
or the other big ones. It's not the creation engine, and I feel like that's just another reason that it just holds them back. And not so much that it's like, oh, it's trash. It's just people don't know how to use it, man.
No, I 100% agree with you. I it would be interesting to see Bethesda make a game in their style with an Unreal Engine. It would be very
Yeah, yeah. And
it'd
a
be
lot of
really
people say
interesting.
like, would it be a Bethesda game anymore? But I'm like, yeah, it would. I mean, they could easily put their Bethesda touch onto it. It doesn't matter what
Hmm.
engine. I mean, it's better than being known for bugs and bad performance and this and that. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
just put it into an engine that performs properly. That's
Yeah.
all. I'm not asking a lot, you know, just
I'm
make the game
curious.
perform to a level that other games it's not it's okay to be held to an industry standard when you are as big as you are. And I think people are just getting a little frustrated that they're not moving forward and progressing. They're just kind of like falling behind. And it's not to say that Starfield is a bad game, but man, I feel like it's really, really held back.
Well, I'm just interested. I'm interested to see how their style of an engine would translate into Unreal Engine 5 because I don't know, I'm no developer by any means, but it would be interesting to talk to someone and pick their brain who knows both of those engines at least in a depth to be able to explain like how the creation engine has all of these different aspects of so many things can be moved around, picked up, and they all have their own kind of physics, and so I'm
And
I'm interested to see how that would translate over into Unreal Engine 5.
I almost feel like, and this is just my opinion, I'm just an armchair developer, you know, so to speak. But in my opinion, I feel like they'd be better off using Unreal Engine 4. There's so much bullshit going into Unreal Engine 5, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, but aside from Fortnite, any new game released in Unreal Engine 5 has performance issues. It has
Mm-hmm.
just problems all around because
Especially
there's
on
all these.
console.
Yeah, it will PC too, man. Like some of the requirements to run some of these games that are in Unreal Engine 5,
Are getting hefty.
it's ridiculous. You have to upgrade your PC to play some of these games. It's nuts.
Yeah.
So that's why I come back to like Unreal Engine 4, it doesn't have, nanite and, all this bullshit and,
Mm-hmm.
I think Skyrim or I'm sorry, Elder Scrolls 6 would just be fine in Unreal Engine 4. It looks great to me still. I think they could make something awesome with a well optimized, well rounded, something that runs on everyone's machines. They wouldn't have a lot of obstacles. Everyone knows how to use it already. I mean, look at the Final Fantasy VII remake. I mean, that's in Unreal Engine 4, and that looks hyper realistic to me. I think they
Yeah.
could do great things in
I
that
think
engine.
I think well the other thing is they did already confirm that the new Elder Scrolls will be exclusive to PC and Xbox. So I don't know if that's going to change the way they can develop for it or not. They can really focus on one machine and making it run on one console and then PCs more so than worrying about how it will play on a PlayStation as well. Cuz
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, it'll definitely help not having, more than one machine. And I think that's also something that helped Starfield release when it did. I feel like if Starfield was developed on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, I feel like we would have seen a way worse launch than what we did. So I think it was in Bethesda's best interest,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, to be bought by Xbox. Because I think Todd Howard even came forward and said, hey, this actually made it way easier, with the problems that we were having, just focusing on one box as opposed to multiple platforms.
No, and as much as it sucks for the people who can't afford to play on all consoles and just have a PS5, it sucks, but it is beneficial to the development team, like you said, because they can just focus on making it run on those consoles, and something that you wanted to talk about before we switch off of video games. This is a good, place to segment into it actually, is, the Series S, being at such a skew that it is like such a low hardware that it is, there's a lot of talk amongst the gaming community that it is possibly holding back the generation. um
Absolutely. And like I said, I love my Series S. It's a beautiful little machine. I love the design. It's really great. It's really great what it does. I mean, you can even play Overwatch in high frame rates if you have the monitor and stuff. Certain esports titles will run great, but it's just like with the Baldur's 3 thing. You know, there's going to be no split screen co-op on that. You know, that's one of the first games that, you know, will break cadence from, you know, the Series X. So, you know, we're already kind of seeing the signs this late in the generation. So, but more interesting, the Series S is the better seller. So it leaves Xbox in this weird position of, you know, do we go for the more powerful one, or do we just go head first into this, you know, lower end console? It's kind of a weird position to be in when, you know, something like 70% of your market is the Series S, but people are saying, hey, this is holding back the generation. So it's just a really weird situation to be in, I feel like.
I mean, I know that Phil Spencer, like every time you see him talk about it and in any interview, he essentially insists that they're going to try to make, you know, try to have something for everyone is what it sounds like. So I don't really know what's going to happen there. Like, I'm very curious to see what they're going to decide with um between between that or, you know, continuing to make a new console. And also I'm curious to see what their answer is going to be to this mid-gen refresh from Sony, because, you know, they did kind of refresh the Series S and give it that 1 terabyte black model, but it's exactly the same console with more memory and it's just painted a different color. You know,
I
there's
think we saw in the leaks, I think we saw like a cylinder looking Series S, didn't we, in
it
those
was it was
leaks
a
a couple
Series
months ago?
X. It was a cylinder Series X with no disk
Right,
drive.
right.
That was the big thing, is they were taking the disk drive out of it, and a lot of people were
Right.
seriously curious because they were charging the same amount of money. So
Yeah, but it also has 2 terabytes
mhm.
built into it or something like that, and then
Yep.
it has like a faster USB-C for, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so
It's, I mean, it's definitely a refresh. It's probably going to be smaller too, but I don't think it's like a pro model by any means. I think they're both basically just the slim models, but maybe the pro model will come later. Who knows?
well, see, that's the thing, is I hear a lot of people say that they don't even think we'll get a pro model. I
Yeah,
think
we
they
might not this
Yeah,
generation,
it
man. I
kind
don't
of
know that
doesn't
it's in
seem
their
like we
best
will.
generation. I don't know that it's in their best interest to do so. I
mm-hmm.
mean, with chip shortages and this and that, I mean, I think they both just want to be done making consoles if they had a choice in the matter and just sell their software to people.
I mean, I could see that future.
Yeah.
I also feel like the executives at Sony, the old school execs, I don't know if they would let that happen. Like, they're so about the exclusive stuff with Sony. I feel like with the PlayStation and like the whole marketing behind PlayStation, I feel like it would be hard for PlayStation to let that go.
Well,
Oh,
okay.
absolutely. It won't happen anytime soon, that's for sure.
No. In fact, I was thinking, I mean, I think it could. Let's think about Sony's history. Their first actual like commercial product that they sold was a rice cooker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they've been in the
Right?
electronics game for forever.
Right. Now, again, the gaming side of Sony does bring in like almost $26 billion in fucking revenue every year. So I don't see them getting rid of it, but maybe, who knows?
Well, I don't see them
No, I'm
getting
not
rid
getting rid of
that's
that,
not
but
that's
getting
not
rid of
what
the
we
physical
mean. Like,
console. The
yeah,
physical
yeah.
console, yeah.
Right. But the thing is they make these things at a loss. When they manufacture a console, that's why we get such good prices on them. Nintendo is the only ones that actually make a profit on their consoles. I mean, a fucking
Greedy
Nintendo Switch
bastards.
being $300 is not a good deal. Let's be real. But yeah, they it's not until probably about now when the refreshes start happening that they break even on these things. So I mean it's kind of a toss up. I mean Sony is ahead of the game, but like when you think in the grand scheme of things, if there could be one universal platform where they could release every bit of their software on every Nintendo and every Xbox, or just platforms didn't exist and it was just this one big universal one, they make all their money off of software anyway. You know what I mean? That's where they recoup the money on hardware losses, is through software. So
Right,
I mean
absolutely.
I can see it happening.
Good, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Well, I feel like it'll be a while before we'll see
I
any
think
big
Xbox will
changes.
be one of the first ones to do it,
Mhm.
just with the whole Game Pass model. I mean, and those leaks were very telling. I mean, they were very upfront with what their plans were. They want everyone on a PC. They're Microsoft. They own Microsoft Windows.
Yeah.
If they can just take that market where there's more people that have a PC than there's people that have an Xbox. Let's be real. There's 30 million Xbox users.
Mhm.
There's hundreds of millions of people with a Windows machine. Everyone runs
Yep.
Windows. If you have a PC, you're running Windows. So they want to integrate that, and I can't say that I blame them. And the subscription model will either be, it'll either be the death of physical gaming as we know it, or it won't happen anytime soon. Maybe it's ahead of its time. Maybe Xbox is pulling the trigger a little too soon here. I mean, only time will tell
Well,
on that matter, I guess.
I do have to say though, I do have the picture on my phone. Um, in the month of September, Starfield was #1 for physical sales in the United States, physical and digital sales.
Right.
So, I mean, that's pretty telling. It came out day one on Game Pass, and it was out day one on Game Pass, but it still sold more than any other game in the United States, physical and digital. So,
Right, but I also read something that was linked to that. That's like if let's say that you played it on Game Pass, you can also purchase, like I did, you can purchase the digital upgrade.
mhm.
And so they were including that in the sales of the
Oh,
game. Like
okay.
technically you bought the digital deluxe version for
Okay.
$30. So that was also included in that.
Okay, so I'd like to see then what the full numbers would be then.
What the actual breakdown would be
Mhm.
from
Between the
who
two.
started with Game Pass and who started with the digital
Yeah,
download
between the two.
or physical bot. Yeah.
Between the
Right,
two.
right. I think Steam sales were pretty telling. I mean, it did sell really well on Steam.
It did sell well
I mean,
too. So, I mean,
it did sell well outside of Game Pass. There's no denying that
mhm.
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think I like the Game Pass model just because it's allowed me to try a lot of games, but I also see the threat to people who like to collect physical stuff. I mean, I stopped collecting physical copies of games a while ago. I have physical copies of games for the Switch because of the way the Switch works with the cartridges, and it just doesn't hold a lot of memory base as it is. Um, but I for my Xbox and everything, I've switched to pretty much all digital. Like if I can get it digital, that's how I get it, just because it just makes my life
Yeah.
easier.
As a PC gamer, like I don't have a choice between
Mm-hmm.
physical or, like I have no problem with digital. It's just my problem is with Game Pass specifically, like if that's the future, like my problem is not digital, but just not even being able to, have access to those games unless I'm paying
Subs-
that subscription fee. If that's my only choice, then I'm outie, basically.
Yeah, no, and I don't want them to do that either. I want it to be so that you can choose. I don't want them to go entirely only Game Pass because that would just throw me off. I like to be able to buy games and own them because there are certain games that I can play offline, and just because I game share, I do have a way that I can play games on a low internet connection when my internet's out at my house and I just hotspot my phone. You know what I mean? And I'll play like a game that's not an online game and play it by myself. So I like to be able to own my games. I mean, it still requires an internet connection, but if I were to ever switch it, like I still like to own that shit because stuff does leave Game Pass. Like we just talked about Persona leaving Game Pass. Things are gonna,
Absolutely. Yeah,
things are
it's
gonna
on a
come and
constant
go.
rotation.
Yep, things are gonna come and go. So I don't like that. I don't like to be able to buy games. And I'm sure, for the developer wise, they'll probably keep that as much as they can, but I'm just interested to see what moves they're gonna make. Like none of us know for sure, because I'm sure it's all classified eternal stuff. But
So
we'll see what
I
happens.
really feel like what they should focus on instead on, putting all this money into the third parties because it was very telling that they're putting billions and billions just into these third party games. I'm like, man, you guys are sitting on so much IP. You could be saving so much money and just filling the whole
Mm-hmm.
catalog with first party titles. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
well
Like
now that
some of the costs that I was seeing on some of these games, I'm like, oh my God, the amount of money that they're paying to keep some of these games on Game Pass is 3 times the amount of the game was costed to develop it. They could have developed 3 games with that cost to
Yep.
keep certain games on there, and it just blows my mind. Like, and I know that it's integral to the success of Game Pass right now, but holy fuck, man, they are just burning some cash, and they're sitting on some golden IPs
Yeah,
that they
dude.
could be bringing back to the dead, or
Yep.
bringing back from the dead, rather.
Yep, instead of having someone else develop, they can be making so many cool games and releasing so many things that would sell gangbusters. A new Banjo game, a new Guitar Hero game, a new
Oh,
Tony.
Guitar Hero. That's
a
what
new
I was going to
Tony
say. When we're
Hawk.
talking about PS2,
Yeah.
man, I played more Guitar Hero on PS2 than any other game on PS2, probably.
Yeah, that's not like the list of IPs that they got with the ABK acquisition is bonkers. Bonkers.
Absolutely.
And same thing with Bethesda. Like Bethesda's gonna be cooking their own thing, but they need to be focusing on stuff that is dormant and putting people like, why don't you like sure maybe that's Bethesda's call at the same time, but Microsoft owns them. Why don't you have someone working on a new Fallout game?
Yeah, like take our money already, right?
Yeah, why don't you have someone working on a new Fallout game? Why don't you have someone, like I said, why don't you have someone working on a new Tony Hawk game? There's so many different things that you could do right now with all the studios that you have, but they're
Or revive that one game that Platinum Games was working on, that was canceled. Scalebound.
Yep.
Oh my god, that game looks sick.
Yeah, there's so many things they could do, but I question what they're doing too. It's weird. I think both of the major game corporations right now are making some weird choices.
Oh, absolutely, dude. The gaming industry is a little bit whack right now, but
I mean, we've gotten a lot of great games this year. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's been some bangers this year, but it's been a strange year also in gaming. So
we've also had some of the worst games in history this year too.
yeah, it's been
literally.
It's been a strange year. We've gotten there was that Lord of the Rings Golem game, which was one of the worst games.
Oh my god.
It was the worst
yeah.
game until Kong Skull Island came out, and then that's now the worst game of the year.
Serious.
Yeah, so it's been a strange year for games for sure. But I want to jump into the sports thing because I was just reminded of something that Steven said right before we started that I wanted to talk about. Some big news didn't you say that was NBA?
Yeah.
Big news in the NBA. They're gonna stop testing for marijuana.
Hell yeah.
I think
In a
that's
sense. In a sense.
In a sense? What do you mean in a sense?
Sorry.
Like don't ask, don't tell, or what?
No. So
You know what I'm saying?
right. So the reason I went real quiet, let you guys kind of take the show that time, is I was doing some reading up on it. First off, I'm gonna, as we all live in states that are both medical and recreational now, right? Take into account that THC, so that means, well, no, THC is legal in 73.3% of the states that have NBA teams, including both medicinal and recreational use. So that was just an interesting stat that popped up. That just gives me an idea as to the overwhelming amount of recreationalization that's happening throughout this country. Again, it's a long time.
Yeah, shit needs to happen on a federal level already and just get it over with.
Yes, sir.
We've outnumbered you at this point. Like, just let it happen.
Yeah, we can at this point do what the states are doing, regulate it like alcohol. It's super, like, it's simple.
It's so overdue at this point.
Right. So this is in results too, and this is actually really interesting that we're all just now hearing about it. I think the first time I saw it was just yesterday, so November 4th. According to the new 7-year collective bargaining agreement between the players, so the NBPA and the NBA itself, took effect on July 1st. So this has been out for a few months. It's going to run through the 2020 or the 2030 season.
Oh,
Two big changes on it. Cannabis related changes have been, hold on, I'm trying to reread it, make sure. That marijuana has been removed from the banned substance list, and players now have the ability to invest in companies that sell CBD and marijuana. Basically, they couldn't do that before, and beforehand, if they tested positive at any point, it was a $25,000 fine.
That's awesome.
Well, the first time was a counseling program. The second time was a $25,000 fine. Third time was a 5-game suspension without pay.
Damn.
Changing it now, basically they can use it as long as they're not using it in during official capacity. So if they're not using it at the game,
Okay.
if it's suspected they're using it at the game, they have to submit to testing, and then they go in front of basically a committee to find out kind of what they have to do. Is it going to be a program? Is it we're going to keep testing you to make sure? Is it that there's different steps, but it's not an immediate fine.
Okay.
If they fail to comply with the program within 5 days, they catch a $10,000 fine. Then if they fail within 8 days, they get another $10,000 fine, and then after that, the fine starts stacking. But dude, if you've been told to do something, come on, just fucking do it.
I agree.
They join a long list. So in 2016, the NHL got rid of it. The MLB got rid of it. So baseball got rid of it in 2019. Same thing, personal time. If they appear under the influence at practice, meetings, any kind of official capacity, then they're in trouble. And the NFL modified it to where they can use it during the off season, but once they're on the clock for the first time, they have to stop.
Okay.
So
yeah, and I know that I think the UFC also got rid of their ban on marijuana.
I could see that was one of the biggest draws. So one of the biggest reasons I've ever watched a fight is not because of who's fighting, because I fucking love Joe Rogan and Dana White.
Oh yeah,
I fucking love them, and Joe Rogan is the biggest supporter of legalization.
Oh yeah,
like hands down. So I can imagine the UFC did. But yeah, so that happened back in July. That being said, players still have to abide by the WADA rules. So when they're playing international, such as the Olympics or the World Championships, they have to apply by those rules.
And yes,
big changes in the NBA as far as something that is not a performance enhancing drug. In fact,
and yes, the UFC is on
performance decreasing drug.
The UFC is on that list. They do not punish players for testing positive for marijuana.
Good. Especially in those physical games where, okay, basketball is not super contacty, but you're going to tell me running up and down a floor for an hour doesn't hurt when you're putting four times your body weight on your knee every time you're jogging, and it's like 10 times your body weight when you're running.
Agreed.
I mean, just about any sport in this day and age, just for player health and mental health and everything like that, like help them deal with pain and the shit that they get. Who gives a shit anymore?
Yeah, it's just some pot. Leave it
alone.
Let's see. Kyle, I know you sent me that huge list of movies and TV that you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Anything to add in the sports scene, Kyle? I know
you're... Oh yeah, hockey guy, Mr. Hockey Guy.
Let's hear it.
Something came up. I haven't looked too far into it, but apparently there's some more sexual assault allegations coming to the Chicago Blackhawks from 2010. So they are, they're a shit show.
No.
Other than that, nothing that I can think of for hockey.
Okay.
Leafs are terrible, so.
I was gonna say I saw a highlight play from one of the previous games, and this, I don't know, it looked like the Leafs had pulled the goalie and using five skaters, and this guy just got a breakaway and had an unassisted net. And the Leaf that was chasing him, once he got across the fucking center line, he just kind of stopped skating.
Well, I mean, I would have too.
No. Play football. We hit that shit until it's dead. Go to the whistle stops.
You're not catching him.
That's okay.
Joe,
it's just
I was gonna say
shitty Leafs defense, you know.
Oh, okay.
That's what it looked like. It was the defensive. This guy just got past the defense.
Joe, I know you watch football more than I do.
Yep.
Anything interesting going on in the football?
Schittsburg lost.
Oh.
Ooh.
Boo, he's-
No, I haven't really been following it as closely as what I normally would. The season pass is so fucking expensive, man. Like we're talking like $300 fucking dollars or something. So
Oh,
For like
jeez.
3 months.
yeah, I didn't get it this year. I mean, there's other means of watching the games, but you know, it's just I don't know, not watching it as closely as what I used to. I still love football, don't get me wrong, but just haven't been following it as closely.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I haven't been following football as close either. I just have lost interest in it lately. I've been watching. I pay attention to more fight stuff when I can and when I remember to watch stuff. I always kind of forget when events are happening. I'm pretty forgetful about that. Like, I missed
Good
the
job.
I missed the Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury fight, and I finally watched it and sat down and watched it. And not gonna lie to you, I kind of agree. There's a lot of talk in amongst the fighting community. Francis Ngannou won that fight. He won that fight, and the only reason he didn't, like, Brendan Schwab said it best. He goes, if you think that those old school judges who have been judging in boxing for decades are gonna score a decision fight to a newcomer against a world champion who's supposed to defend his belt against I forget what his name is here in the next couple months, you're out of your mind. Like, yes, Francis Ngannou definitely won that fight in almost everybody's eyes. He knocked Tyson Fury on his ass. Like, he bullied him for fucking 9 rounds. Like, it was an incredible fight to watch. And for someone who just got into the boxing league, to take on the heavyweight world champion and essentially win, like, that's it, he did that well. It was an incredible show. So I'm excited to see what Ngannou's career is going to look like after this. I feel like he's going to go somewhere in boxing. It's exciting to watch. um but you know that's about all the sports stuff I got right now. Everything's pretty slow for me. The snowboarding stuff and is just really starting to pick up, so I'll have some more stuff on that later, but it's really just starting to pick up. So
I'm gonna say I haven't been seeing a whole lot of snowboarding come across my X Games or Red Bull TV
I've
streams.
seen I've seen a couple new clips on Facebook, nothing too crazy worthy. It's a lot of really icy runs, really shitty runs. You can hear the snow underneath the snowboard just yeah. Yeah, dude. It's not fun.
Fucking tinfoil.
Yeah, dude, it sucks.
Oh,
But let's hop into TV and movies because I know Kyle's got a pretty long list here, so let's bang this
let's
out.
hear it, Kyle. Let's hear it.
All right, let's do it. Let's go through all the delayed projects first. Since the strike is still happening, I'll just run through those. The TV series The Penguin, that will be delayed to fall 2024.
Okay.
Super sad. Creature Commandos has officially been delayed to 2025, which was kind of a big deal because James Gunn basically confirmed that that would be out before Superman Legacy. And the rumor is the animation is not completed yet. Voice work is done though with that though, so that's nice. Depending on the strike, The Last of Us 2 or season 2, I mean, will begin production on early 2024. But again, depending on how the strike goes, they might be delaying that.
Please don't do this to me.
Yeah, hopefully things get settled, so we'll see. Do you guys watch the show Euphoria?
I do not.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, it's like a crazier, more dark version of Degrassi. If you guys remember that show from back in the day, that's been delayed to 2025 because of some potential casting issues with the death of Angus Cloud. He played Fez on that show.
Yeah.
And then there was another member on that cast who doesn't want to portray the role anymore, I guess. So they're out. It TV series Welcome to Derry has been delayed to 2025.
Okay.
It's going to be a prequel, actually. I forgot to mention that.
Okay.
Yeah, and that'll be a TV series. I forgot what site that'll be. I think it's Max, maybe. Okay, I think that's it for delays.
Okay.
Let's see. Netflix December 1st, they're bringing over 8 DCEU movies, and seemingly it's the Joss Whedon Justice League version. So I don't know. I'd recommend watching Snyder's, but if you got 4 hours to kill, that's what I would do. Joss Whedon version it's so terrible.
I've watched both of
at
them.
all costs.
I've watched both of them. The
Okay.
Snyder version is better.
It's the difference in when Superman comes back is crazy.
Yeah, it's much better when
course.
Superman comes back in the Snyder.
Marvel's considering bringing back the original cast for a new Avengers movie.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Wait, what? Say that again.
New Avengers movie considering the original cast.
I mean,
I'm chalking that up to more as like no one's really dead, so like maybe the new Avengers movie will have some resurrections and we'll see the original cast in that way. I don't see them just being like, here's a new Avengers movie and the original cast. That just seems weird and out of place.
yeah, they gotta figure out a way.
I didn't get to read too much onto it.
Is this so are we talking I guess we'll have to just wait and see, but I'm hoping this is more of a
like Secret Wars.
Well, like a new phase into this, like maybe like I don't know. Is Robert Downey Jr. really coming back? Is he coming back? Because if he comes back, I'm all in again. Okay, he is.
I think he was gonna come back anyways.
He is Tony Stark. He is fucking
like
Tony
Secret
Stark.
Wars, and then it's a superhero flick. Like no one's really dead. There's always a way to bring him back.
Yeah.
Like
Did he come out and say that he like wasn't going to do any more of those movies though? Like he kind of just said he was done doing that.
Well, he did say in an interview.
That's true.
He did say in an interview with Rogan, that he would consider it. He kind of danced around it a little bit because, I mean, Joe Rogan said it best for me. Like he's like, dude, everybody would love it if you put the cape back on. Essentially, like no one's gonna be mad.
Oh, absolutely.
No one's
But
gonna
it's
be
like
mad.
he
is Iron Man.
so many movies.
Yeah,
Boom.
yeah, no, and I agree with you there. Like he's put in a ton of work with that, and maybe he's done with it. Maybe he wants to move on, which I can understand.
Totally.
But if he moves on,
Pay him enough money.
if he moves on, all I'm saying is that means that Iron Man does not come back. Don't you try to make another man fill his shoes, because I will be disappointed. I know that. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, and there's a ton of rumors around Secret Wars too, and that's a whole rabbit hole. Like there's already so many like basically confirmed cameos for that in Deadpool 3. I think the list is over 30 between the two, so it's disgusting.
Well, it'll be interesting to watch.
Massive list.
Well, that's sick. We'll have to see.
The Marvels hits theaters November 10th.
Okay.
Monarch Legacy of Monsters premieres November 17th on Apple TV.
Okay.
The trailers are looking so good for that. I'm getting really excited for that. And then another trailer actually just dropped for Godzilla -1. Tickets are available now as of November 3rd. They had an early fan access event that you can get tickets to, which is November 29th, a couple of days before the actual release date. So you can get a couple days ahead of time.
I'm gonna have to watch a trailer, because what the hell is Godzilla -1?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, what the fuck is that?
It's from the original Japanese studio.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, these are like the OGs, kind of splicing the modernized look and feel to their version. So,
okay, so the OGs are making it. If Godzilla's arms move, I'm pissed.
it's not going to be fucking animatronics.
No, I'm saying I want the fucking dinosaur doll walking through.
Just animate it.
He
So
looks
the arms
pretty
don't
similar.
Oh,
He looks pretty similar, but he definitely looks more of like the modern MonsterVerse that we see with.
They would have to. I'm just.
That's hilarious.
But that also looks really good. Honestly, it looks like a goddamn horror movie. Godzilla -1.
Fuck
yeah. House of Dragon season 2 is set to premiere early summer. And then A Knight of Seven Kingdoms, The Hedge Knight, is a spin-off series revolved around Sir Duncan and the Tall and his squire Egg.
Okay.
Okay. And they're still waiting for the. Do they have any news on Snow? I haven't looked in on that one. I've seen teaser on
I haven't
Snow.
seen anything new on it, just that they want to do a that spin-off with him.
Yeah, that's interesting. I have to check
sorry,
those
go ahead.
out. I have to check those out. I've never heard of
Dude.
either of those. So
I don't mind House of Dragon. I actually kind of liked season 1, and if I were to compare that to Game of Thrones, I honestly prefer House of Dragon.
okay.
I'm not a big Game
Yeah.
of Thrones fan though, so
Never watched Game of Thrones. So
Okay, did you ever finish it?
yeah, it's terrible.
Okay, I'm glad you.
I
At
watched
least
the whole thing.
finished it.
Yeah, watch the whole thing. It's
I loved it until
rough.
the last season.
The first seasons are pretty good. You know, I liked all the different characters and sides of stuff, but I think what I like or don't like is the actual authors writing, just how people die and how things happen. I just didn't like and don't think that would actually happen. Some other things here. I don't know if you guys saw the trailer on Discord, but Shogun premieres February on FX and Hulu. It's a limited series. Looks fucking fantastic.
okay, check that out.
Elf Elf is returning to theaters November 17th for its 20-year anniversary.
Hell yeah! Might actually
Thought it was weird it was November, but that actually seems pretty cool.
might actually consider going to a movie theater to watch that. That'd be fucking hilarious.
Honestly.
Dude,
yeah.
I don't remember the last time I've been to a movie theater.
Might be kind of fun.
Oh,
Might be kind of fun, Joe.
I love the theaters.
Maybe all four of us should just go to Missoula and watch the Elf.
Dude,
Oh,
it'd
that'd be sick.
Fun, not getting stoned the whole time and having to pee the whole time and missing part of the movie. That'll be a blast.
Yeah, I kind of see. That's what makes me not want to go to the movie theater anymore. Is because of that
Dude,
reason.
inevitably,
exactly.
I have to take the biggest piss known to mankind, like right in the middle of the fucking movie. Whatever happened to intermission? Like, give us back intermission, and I'll go back to the movies.
Oh, intermissions would be cool. I don't know. I love theaters though. I will do anything to go to a theater if I can.
$17 popcorn. Yeah, man, sign me up.
It is expensive. I don't care.
No, I
love
see
theaters.
dude. I'm that guy, man. We fill up the purse with fucking a 6-pack of Coca-Cola, dude. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
We definitely bring our own snacks, but I always get popcorn. I have to.
Yeah, I get popcorn for sure. You have to have popcorn. Noelle's grandma is the worst, man. We used to go to this movie theater, right? And they would give you free refills on the popcorn, but she would demand the refill before the movie. She's like, I want my refill now. And they would always give it to her because she was just this, loud old woman. They're like, okay.
Just take it.
Going to the movies when I was a kid with my friend's mom, who was Filipino, was always an adventure, dude. She's like,
oh gosh,
dude, she's bringing in Tupperware with food and plastic silverware, dog. Like, yeah, in the middle of the movie theater, dude. She's like handing out sodas. It's out of her, dude. It was so funny every time, dude.
amazing.
Noelle's grandma be having like Wendy's burgers and shit. She's like, I got us cheeseburgers.
Yeah, dude, that's the best.
That's great. Last thing is the Ghost of Tsushima script is completed and they are in heavy development.
Yeah, the John Wick director's making that.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Chad Stalsky.
There's a just quick plug. There's a great interview with him on Rogan. It's I forget what episode number, but there's a great interview with him where they talk about all of the different things that he did for the John Wick films, if anybody's ever interested in that. But yeah, I'm excited that he's making it because Ghost of Tsushima deserves that really action-packed movie.
Yeah.
It needs to be action-packed.
I hope it's good.
Yeah, I hope it's good.
And with a
too.
good story too. And it's gonna should with the same director.
Yeah, like that game can definitely be crunched down into like a 2.5 hour action-packed movie where you follow along and the story makes sense. Yeah, like it's 110% it can be.
That's kind of the problem with this era that we live in, though, is everything has to be a fucking TV show, and like there should. Whatever happened to movies? What happened to movies?
Yeah,
I know. I'm like the least fan of TV shows. I love a good limited series. That's why I'm really stoked on Shogun. I was a huge fan of Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Like any of those
So you
limited series or like
don't
Breaking
look
Bad, like they knew when to call it, you know?
Right, right. I was just talking to someone about it's kind of an older show now, but Freaks and Geeks. It only ran for one season, and it has so many big actors in it, like where they first started, like Seth Rogen and
Mm-hmm.
what's the other fucking guy? Yeah, bunch of people, like bunch of comedians. That's where they got their start, and it only ran for one season, and it was so fucking good,
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
so good.
I do like the limited series stuff too, and I do miss a good movie. It's been a while since we've had just like some good ass normal ass
Yeah,
movies.
even just a solo flick, no sequel or anything, just a damn good
Right.
movie. I
I
do
mean,
love
I
like
can't blame them.
trilogies are my favorite, but
It's not really profitable to make movies anymore, unfortunately. I mean, with the
yeah.
streaming age that we live in, no one does go to the movies, unfortunately. So, even if
Yep.
you make a good movie, it's going to bomb at the box office.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sadly, I mean, I'm sure they could figure out a system where they're, releasing. I mean, it seems like they were releasing a lot of movies day one, like on HBO during the pandemic. So, but it seems like HBO got most of the profit for that. You know what I mean? It wasn't
Yeah, it
Hollywood
sucks.
per se.
Yep, and that's hopefully what we're gonna get some resolve on here in the next coming months, but we'll see what the
Yeah.
studios decide to do. After did release a statement that they sent their counter offer to the studios to see what they rebuttal with this time, I guess.
Okay.
See if I can find it.
Well, I mean, that
I feel like movies in, like the early 2000s, and then that's kind of when when Netflix basically got introduced. That's when movies kind of started taking a shit.
yeah, I have to agree with you on that. Like the last movies I remember being like actually excited to go see in the movie theater were like the event, like the first and
The early
second
Marvel films.
yep, the first and second phases of the Avengers movies, and uh like, I was a huge, to be honest, and I don't care how much flack I get for it, I was a huge fan of Fast and the Furious up until the fifth after the fifth movie, eh, but 1 through 5,
Many
I
is there
love
now?
those.
So
They're like at, I think they're at like 9 or
20.
10. They're like 9 or 10.
Yeah, I think
Not-
they're at 10.
Yeah, but I was a fan of them up until like we got to the fifth movie. Like I said, the fifth movie is where that's like the last good one in my opinion. I like to imagine it just kind of ended after that. They all lived happily
I
ever
like a
after
good
with their money.
trilogy.
Yeah,
A good trilogy is always fine with me.
and I agree with you. A good trilogy is good. Like, I grew up watching the old school classic action movies like Lethal Weapon and Die Hard and all the good old shit. Die Hard was the old three. That was a good action fun original three movies. And
Yeah, man.
a lot of people might not like the Hobbit movies, but I thought the way they did that in a trilogy was well done for a movie presentation. I thought
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
I watch those movies still. I enjoy watching those as much as I enjoy watching Lord of the Rings personally.
Yeah, I think they made some weird choices with like the frame rate of the movies and stuff. Like
Yes.
call me a movie snob or whatever, but I think 24 frames per second is the only frame rate a movie should ever be shot in.
No, I agree.
But other than that, they're fine. The movies are fine themselves. Just some weird creative decisions, I guess, were made.
Mhm.
yeah,
Those movies.
that 60 frames per second in the Hobbit movie is a little off-putting at first, but the scene where they're flowing down the river in the barrels and bouncing around is one of my favorites of any movie.
Yeah.
The CGI is so well done, the action is so good, and it makes you laugh while it's happening because the dwarfs are just goddamn funny.
Yeah, it's a good movie at its core for sure.
But yeah, like I do enjoy a good trilogy. I hope that good movies make a comeback, but at the same time though, I do enjoy a good TV show. Like I feel like some things need TV shows. Like I heard that Disney is working with Christopher Poloni on making a TV show based on the Aragon books, which I'm personally really excited about.
Oh yeah.
That was announced a
that
while ago.
Disney has I'm probably not going to be too interested in it, man. Disney's so fucking out there nowadays.
Yeah,
Oh,
Disney.
I mean, I will have to give you that. You kind of turned me. I won't watch Disney.
Yeah, Disney is pretty
Yeah.
out there, but I'm gonna give it a chance because that is the one series of books that I have read multiple times. I have read them and listened to them now multiple times. I love those
Yeah,
books.
man.
I love those books so much.
I
Like
do too.
I think
I
that
just hope they fuck it up, man.
yeah, no, I think that if a movie or TV show presentation was done right, that shit could rival Lord of the Rings for me. Like it's just the
Yeah.
story is so it's so interesting and there's so much to it, but that's why I kind of want it to be a TV show because there is so much to it. Like just I don't care if there's episodes, like just it don't cut out too much of the important shit.
Well, knowing Disney, the lead character will probably be played by a, African American lesbian or something. I mean, that's just the truth of the matter.
I mean,
Sorry to
yeah,
sorry to come off as offensive potentially, but Disney is fucking out there, man. They are pandering to the wrong crowd, and
there are some things I don't
it's
agree
getting
with
kind
that
of
they do
disgusting.
for sure.
Honestly.
I like like there's some things that you just there's some things that I always question when they do shit. I'm like like I don't, why are we doing this consistently? Like it's Disney.
Yeah,
Did
no
you
shit.
guys watch the new South Park episode? I think it pretty well sums it up.
No, I
pretty
haven't
well.
watched it yet. I've been saving
Oh,
it.
I've seen
God.
snippets, but I
Into the
really need to watch it.
Panderverse, dude. It's a cultural event in my opinion. It sums up our weird situation perfectly.
South Park, Matt and Trey Parker
As
are
they normally do.
Matt and Trey Parker are legends at doing that. So,
Tell me you guys have seen their movies.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah.
Basketball is one of my favorite
Like
movies
Team
ever.
America and stuff. Yeah.
Orgasmo is one of my favorite movies ever.
Dude, I fucking love those.
They have so many good movies.
Classic. And it's so funny because like this whole situation has just like it's already been low hanging fruit in Hollywood. They could have picked on Hollywood and what's going on so much earlier, but oh man, it's just been a whole amalgamation in this episode of just everything that's transpired in the couple years and just how everything has changed. And it's so good. You guys, you have to watch it if you haven't seen it yet.
Okay, I'll definitely have to check that out because I want
to. Quick
It's-
update for the SAG AFTRA.
Okay.
The AMPTP had previously warned the Actors Union that if a deal could not be reached by the end of this week, meaning this last week, the networks would have to cancel certain TV shows, and there would be further delays in 2024 summer theatrical releases, which we kind of went over. Late Friday is when they met and released a short message to everyone, Twitter and all that they would meet Saturday afternoon. So we might actually get an update today or tomorrow on where that counteroffer led us.
Okay, well that'll be interesting to see.
Fucking hope.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they get that figured out.
Yeah, I'm tired of these delays.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that's pretty much it though for all the stuff that
anyone
I got.
know what's going on with, like the whole writer's strike? What's going on with that? Does anyone know?
We went over it, I think last episode. They settled on one deal, but it's technically like three entities. You have like the writers, the actors, and then like video games, I think, is coming up next. Like all the voice acting and stuff. And then
it's such a weird situation, man.
Yeah, and the article that I pulled up for that podcast episode, I forget the name of it, but they listed, like this isn't just going to develop like big numbers or like big companies, but like all the voice acting companies too. Like that's a huge, huge market that's going to be affected if they don't settle on a deal that is beneficial for humans.
Yeah, it is important, unfortunately, because just feeding AI, all this creative IP, definitely isn't good for anybody.
Yeah, and Scarlett Johansson actually just she put in a lawsuit for some ad that is using her likeness and voice and all that. So she's trying to sue and get all that taken care of. So it's definitely a real thing, and it's getting more serious as the days pass, and we're not figuring out these strikes.
AI evolving so fucking quickly. It's frightening.
Jesus, yeah.
Yep.
Hopefully,
times. We're at the beginning.
no Skynet, no Skynet, no Skynet.
Yeah, please don't subscribe to that. No.
Fun fact, I'm pretty sure the creator of one of these big AIs, not Chat GBT, but one of these, he literally carries around a fucking kill switch in his backpack in case it decides to go rogue. It's scary, man.
That's not okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's not okay, dude.
No,
I
It's not
definitely
okay.
appreciate that.
Like,
I appreciate that.
because it's gone rogue before, so he has to carry a backpack now. Like, that's scary.
That's
no,
For sure.
Like, yeah, what happens if,
dude.
He dies or
yeah, like, does this
whatever.
have a dead
Like-
man switch on it? So, like, if he gets hit by a car, does it kill it? Because if he gets hit by a car and no one fucking knows about this, we're
Well,
fucked.
maybe the AI sent coordinates to some fucking rocket to kill the guy so it can go rogue. Who knows? Like, it's like that's
Right,
the
yeah,
type of
like
evolving that we're talking about here. Like, the AI can plot against him, kill him somehow. You know what I mean? And then release itself. It's fucking
You guys
crazy.
ever-
It has to carry a kill switch to begin with because it's gone rogue.
That's
Yeah,
I never
I know.
watched it because the plot seemed super cheesy. But you guys ever watched the horror movie Megan?
I've heard. of it.
My wife did. My wife.
Okay. So actually not a bad flick, and the plot of it is like pretty perfect. It
So-
definitely plays into like the AI and like
From
they can
what
just take
she
over
has
your
told me.
electronics and almost like maximum overdrive in a sense too.
Well, it's just at that point, AI has to run off of the internet, and at that point, anything that is connected to the internet
Yep, you are screwed.
is a
And they're actually
potential-
making a sequel, so
Yeah, I mean, they're finding vulnerabilities in stupid things. Like, you know how like every appliance connects to Wi-Fi. Like, the AI is, back doors and all sorts of shit that you wouldn't even think of. It's fucking scary.
yep. Living a
Not to put the
definitely
tinfoil hats on, but God, it's a really, really weird world that we live in. That's for sure.
yeah, it really is. It's scary.
Well,
I just love how we spent the 90s making these movies and the early 2000s making these movies where AI literally took over and destroyed the human race. And what
Yep.
happens?
Yeah,
I mean, okay, let's do it.
we're headed there. Yeah, we're on.
I mean,
our
we
way.
do it with politics too. We have so many movies about corrupt policies and systems, and we still do it.
And we do it.
Oh, yeah.
Something that blows
Because
my
Don't
mind.
push the button.
Something that blows my mind is that we are still in this. We're still in this place where nobody is talking about the hearing that we had on UFOs and UAPs.
Yeah,
Like, I
Well,
watched
know,
that.
it's all
Everyone
declassified.
said-
Like,
I
it's out
watched
there.
that
Yeah.
whole interview and I'm sitting there with my jaw dropped like, why is this not on the front newspaper, a page of every
We've been
newspaper
talking
everywhere?
about it since the 40s.
Like,
It's old news now.
yeah, but the government
Yeah,
is
it's like we
admitting
already
it.
knew.
But the government
Like,
is
look at the
admitting
world
it
we
now.
live in.
But the government is
Yeah.
admitting it now. Like, that's
But
why I
what?
was like,
They're-
what?
They're admitting
Well,
that
look at
the
what's going
X
around.
Files
Like,
was real.
It's easier to believe that aliens are real than it is that like people believe that they identify as Apache helicopters now. You know what I mean? Like, it's just we live in such a strange world that like it's like, yeah, of course aliens exist, but look at what's
Yeah.
going on around us. It's such a distraction that it just doesn't even matter. Like,
Oh, dude,
the world is alien to me now. Like, I don't recognize the world around me. It's crazy.
Right. No, I'm with you there.
I definitely.
We
I
might
just-
as well be on Mars. Like, I feel like the alien.
Yeah, I definitely just I listened to more stuff about that classified hearing, and I'm just like, listen, I think what's really concerning now is now we know they have alien technology, but what are they doing with the alien technology? Like, that's where I
Right.
immediately go with it. I'm like,
Yep.
dude, you guys have it, but what are you doing with it? Like, all you admitted to
Period.
was having it. That's it.
Right.
And I mean, they
Creepy.
confirmed that it's happened in other countries and that other countries have this technology, and I'm just like,
Oh yeah,
yeah, dude.
Okay. Yeah.
And not to get super tinfoil hatty, but I listened to another interview with a guy who was talking about
Let's go.
remote remote viewing. Have you guys heard about this?
No.
No.
Apparently, like, you guys have ever seen the movie The Hunt for Red October?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so apparently that movie is based on a real submarine, and that submarine that they used in that movie was discovered by a guy who was sitting in his living room in Virginia in America, and he, using like his brain powers, okay, that he had been training, figured out like almost exactly where this submarine was, down to the exact length, width, and height of the sub. And
The
he,
fuck?
yeah, dude, like I can link you guys to the interview with the guy that I watched on YouTube. It was kind of scaring the shit out of me a little bit. He's like, anybody has this ability. You just kind of have to find this meditative place. And he's like, there's a facility where the government trains you, and you go into a room and there's a stack of envelopes with numbers on them, and it'll be like B32 or like a random number. And like you get assigned a number, you don't get handed the envelope, you don't get to look at the envelope or anything, and they give you a piece of paper and a pen, and they tell you to go, they kind of teach you how to get into this certain mental state, and they send you into a room, and you like do your thing and draw whatever the first thing that comes to your brain, essentially, like to put it short, and then a separate person gets the envelope, or gets the picture that's in the envelope, but it's with 4 other pictures, and then they get the picture that you drew. So it's like a blind judging test. And this guy was scoring first place in almost every single test that they did at the government facility, according to this dude who was there. It's a
Wow.
it's a crazy interview, and I'm like sitting here going, "Are you telling me right now that we have people with psychic powers working for the government?" Because that's another thing that we
Well,
should be talking about.
Oh,
Einstein
that
the
is not
same.
surprising.
Yeah, Einstein claimed to kind of do the same thing. Like he entered this deep like thought, state essentially, and could kind of predict things and see things, or that's just kind of what it reminded me of. So
Yeah,
that's kind of weird.
that's the other thing. He used his abilities. There was and this is a searchable event. Back, I forget exactly what year it was. I want to say this is like in the late 80s. The government, the Skylab was coming down. It was one of our first space stations in space, right? And back then, they didn't have the technology to triangulate the trajectory of the Skylab coming out of space and where it was going to fall. And so this guy was like, I'm gonna try to use my powers on this, essentially. And he was within 6 days of the crash date and within 30 miles of the location.
That's nutty.
And I'm like sitting over here going, yo, dude, that's making the hair on the back of my neck stand up a little bit. Like, you telling me this is a real thing?
Right.
So I mean, that's an interesting thing that I was listening to with, the I feel like they need to come clean with a couple things, because like I said, I'll link that interview in the Discord. It was a crazy interesting thing to listen to about the mind. There's a whole it's a whole company. It's like a little corporation doing experiments with this, that the guy who was interviewing him, they offered him a free session up there, essentially, for him to go and like try using his brain the same way. Like they're being really open about it. This company is, anyway. If you like Monsanto is what it's called.
Of course, it's Monsanto. Okay,
Yeah,
I've heard of it.
it's Monsanto. Yeah, and they're doing some crazy stuff with the mind right now. And apparently, anybody can go down there and sign up to do this stuff.
Of course.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me. I was like, yo, that's crazy. But I think that's pretty much everything I got for today. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Oh, other than the fact that I find it pretty interesting that Twitch changed their TOS with this whole multi-streaming. I think it's kind of weird that a lot of people aren't covering it in the news, honestly.
We can talk about that for a second real quick, because I actually would like to talk about that.
Yeah, just real quick. I mean, I just got to thinking about it, and it's just funny how all these streamers signed over to YouTube and stuff, and how now they're stuck in this contract, and then here Twitch comes in and changes their TOS. I saw Ninja streaming, with this whole Fortnite OG thing, and man, that guy's luck with streaming is just second to none. I mean, first with the mixer, he got the mixer bag. Mixer goes under. He's not under contract anymore. He can basically stream wherever he wants. and then just this crazy timing of like Fortnite OG and then Twitch TOS changing their policy. That guy gets like 20,000 subs overnight, so he can stream to fucking YouTube, Twitch, be monetized everywhere now. I found that really fascinating, and I think we're going to start seeing all these YouTube streamers that are contracted. As soon as their contracts are up, I don't think we're going to see contracts in streaming anymore.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to get that set up. So,
exclusivities.
ooh, that's something actually maybe me and you can talk about, Joe. That plugin, did you use the same plugin that I sent you?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, I
so
did,
we'll
and
definitely-
there is ways to like change bitrate and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. Someone actually brought it up to Ninja because he was using Restream and he was pissed off at the fact that he had to pay for it because he was streaming to every platform the other day. It was Twitter, fucking Twitch, YouTube, Kick. Like he was on all of them or whatever. And then someone in chat was like, "Oh, why don't you use this plugin?" And so that's kind of what struck me to kind of learn it or whatever because they said that it's really configurable. But what they suggest is that you should use YouTube in the main the main OBS settings because it requires like thumbnail and all that stuff, and then all the secondary ones you put off into the left. But yeah, it's just a matter of changing bit rates and all that good stuff, I guess. But nothing super crazy, I guess. But it could also come down to PC performance too. So it could be a number of things, if you're having troubles with it. But the general consensus is it's pretty good.
Yeah, and as far as I know, the only real rule that I've heard about with the whole multi-streaming from Twitch to YouTube is that Twitch they don't care about the multi-streaming. They just don't want any other chats from any other platforms on the screen.
Right.
So
Which is pretty doable.
Yeah, so you can't have your YouTube chat on the screen. And like we were talking about in our private chat the other day, there is a way for you to set up a window so that all of your platform chats come into a window that you can see, and then you can just leave just the Twitch chat up on your screen, for people to see at least the Twitch chat, what's going on there.
Right. It's not being broadcasted is the biggest thing. As long as like it's not being broadcasted on your stream, and most people don't stream with a chat, on their screen anyway, so it doesn't really affect, probably 80% of streamers, I'd imagine anyway.
Exactly. So, yeah, no, I think that I'm excited to see what this brings, and I'm trying to get it set up so that I can do the same thing. So,
yeah, I'll do a little bit more digging specifically, but I did a little test stream and I didn't do that test stream thing or whatever, but it didn't have any hiccups, it didn't have any drop frames, and it could have also just been that you were having a bad internet day at that moment, so who knows, because it does take extra bandwidth, and that's the biggest downfall to it is you have to have the bandwidth to back up every individual stream. So
yeah, and I don't know
other
if
than
my
that,
upload's good enough for that. So,
yeah. But generally, yeah, I mean, a lot of people are saying even 7K for if you want an actual 1080p 60 stream, you should be going closer to 6,500 to 7,000, bits per second, upload, as opposed to the old recommendation of like 5K or whatever. It's a lot crisper. So you times that by 2 and you're looking at 14K. So it just depends. Some people have really good uploads, but upload can be so fickle. Sometimes you're not getting advertised speed. So I mean, I'm advertised 50 upload, but I get 30 on a good day and 12 on a bad. So
yep.
It is.
Alrighty, well, I think that'll wrap it up. Last couple things I want to say is this was our first live episode, even though it was accidental, and I think I don't think it'll be our last. I kind of liked this layout. I like seeing the comments, and we might be doing this again next week. So we'll discuss it a little more amongst ourselves later. But I'm gonna get to the upload process and get that all figured out and get that done. If you can listen on any platform that you can, make sure to like, follow, share with your friends, subscribe, all that good stuff. It helps out the pod very much, and all the links will be down below. Big welcome to Joe to the Demons Club. I will I will also have his links down below along with everybody's, like I always do. So make sure to follow us on Twitch, YouTube, wherever we got links to. We got to get on Slugg to get more links out there than just his Twitch, because it's the only one he's got on his page still.
I noticed that.
Yeah, so all right.
Slug, goddammit.
Yeah. Such a slacker. All right. Well, I hope everybody has a wonderful day.
We'll talk to y'all later.
Bye.
Tuesday.